Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you guys so much for joining Eileen and I for the Power of 8 at 8. How are you, Eileen?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Been busy, and it's actually nice to take a little break and chat with a friend. So
Yeah. I saw yesterday you had a rebroadcast, so I'm like, oh, good. He had a Friday night activity, something to do, probably with family, and it's nice to do that.
actually to prepare for the trip. But yeah,
Oh, good idea.
yeah,
How's that coming?
pretty good. Still have plenty to do, but
Is it next weekend?
I'll
Might
get
as well
it
put the
done.
plug in. Is it next weekend?
It's this coming week. It's the 8th through the 10th.
Wow, that's
And
going
the
to be
link is
super.
below. Matter of fact, I want to mention that our book is out as well. Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe. I put the link right
Yeah.
at the top tonight. So you
Do you know if
guys,
Jerry got his copies yet that you're going to
yep,
sign?
yeah.
He's
He
got
said,
them?
let me go full screen so you can show that there. Yeah, so yeah, there it is. It's out in paperback and ebook. And if you already picked up the paperback, you can go get the
Ebook
ebook
for a
for,
buck 99.
yeah,
I did that. I got the Kindle for $1.99.
yeah,
So
me
it's always
too.
in my phone. What's interesting is we just keep doing really, really well just with our group, which is perfect, no advertising. And if you even just put in Mandela now, it pops up on the first screen. You just have to put that word in and we're there. It's so cool.
Yeah, I noticed it. Yeah, it was like, and if you put the Mandela Effect, then it drops us down one because somebody else has the Mandela Effect
Advertise.
on something.
Yeah, and somebody's got like an advertisement in front of us.
There's actually a movie on Amazon Prime that has the Mandela Effect in the title, but they're not even talking about the Mandela
I went
Effect.
and clicked on that one, and I'm sure you told us that it didn't have it in there because what's the point of that? Why is he saying it's a Mandela Effect movie when it's kind of like um, a not great ghost movie? Is that what it is? Like he walks
I
through his house and
I'm
it's supposed to scare you?
I made it about 7 minutes, and I was like, wait a minute, let me go look at the reviews on this. And I went immediately to the 1 stars and saw that they said, why does it have Mandela Effect in the title? And they never mentioned Mandela Effect. And I'm like, oh, so glad I paused it and checked.
Interesting. So cross marketing, maybe trying to pick up some extra views. I don't know. You don't pay for it. At least I didn't. It was free with Prime.
Exactly. Yeah,
Well,
it's free
I
with
I
Prime. And
went to a yeah.
go ahead. I was
No,
just going to say, I wouldn't want to use the Mandela Effect if it wasn't really the Mandela Effect because it seems to be like something they suppress. So it would only seem to hurt.
that doesn't make sense. Then why would you
No.
use that to have like what's it called? Clickbait?
Right. So I guess he just doesn't know. So he's actually harming himself by doing that. He would have been better off to put paranormal, I don't know,
Ghost
haunted house or
activity, haunted
something.
house, or
I don't even know if it ever went there or not. I didn't watch very much of
I didn't get to the end either because nothing happened. In the video, I'm like, you feel like after 10 minutes, I could have watched like 4 YouTube videos by now.
it. It seemed like a lot like a YouTube video. It didn't seem professional or anything. How did he get it on
Isn't
there?
it called Ben or something like that? Ben's house, something like that. Ben is in there.
So it's like Mandela Effect Ben's house or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Or
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
that's
know.
in the description. But I went to a mystical fair today at Unity Church. We have one nearby, not too far away. And I got this crystal that looks super cool that I've never seen before. And it's regular quartz crystal like that everybody knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's dipped in silver, gold, and copper. Look at that. Can you see the
Wow.
colors?
Yeah, that's
It
amazing.
it reminds me of a peacock stone. Like if you heat up a peacock stone, you get those colors.
It's almost like what's that other stuff? Opal, that really
Opal,
rare stuff
opalite.
that it's like supposed to be rare. I guess it's like diamonds, but made out of lava or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing
I
it out.
don't know. I still have my aceti stone, which is a really fat, flat tabby. So flat. I love this aceti stone. Very, very unusual. And I got my first skull.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not really attracted to skulls, but I was to this one. This one spoke to me, and it is labradorite. So it probably won't show up the labradorite as much. Isn't that like amazing?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Like you get sparkles of purple and blue. You can see a little in the mouth. See?
Yeah.
When you put it into light. It's kind of got blue eyes. Look. Oh
Yeah, I
my
was looking
God,
at
it's got blue eyes.
that.
Oh, I should
Yeah,
have gotten their name.
I've got some small skulls like that Megan from New York sent me that are really pretty. I don't
Really?
have them handy
I
though,
think
but
I got some for my daughter once, like little ones. And then I got this one here, which has inclusions in it, which includes it's just a giant, like, crystal point. And then if you go
right.
to the back, there's a triangle in there, like a
Ah.
TR3B that I keep
Yep.
seeing. Isn't that
That's very
funny?
cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a TR3B in my rock.
It almost looks 3D.
Yeah, it does. It's been polished though. So maybe that helps a little bit to make it look 3D. It's a regular point polished.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, so that was fun. I should have gotten their name because they have a Facebook um group, but I forgot to pull the name up for the show.
I like
That's it.
those 3D. What do you call them? They're like squares of glass, but then they take a 3D thing and they're like able
Yeah.
to like make a 3D sort
Yeah.
of.
Like even your face they can put in there, right?
Yeah,
They
that's
take a
amazing.
picture and they make it 3D etching inside. I wonder how they do that with a
I
laser
don't
maybe.
know. Yeah, with the laser somehow. Now
Oh,
I had a regular 2D laser that I would etch stuff into, but it was very weak. It was like the cheapest like 40-watt one. But I had a
it's
lot of
kind of
fun with
cool.
it. Yeah, yeah.
I got one other thing, and that's Argonite. And I got it with a lion's face in there. Kind
Ooh,
of
very
reminded
nice.
me of ESETI with all those lions everywhere. And of
Yeah.
course, it's full of crystal and metal.
That's
Isn't that
pretty
cool?
on the back. What that is that
It's
like a
just,
hot pink or
it's hot pink resin. And then inside is the metal you can see, and the stones, the crystal. The crystal's turquoise. The metal is
Oh, okay.
copper.
So it's organized. It's supposed to like cut down on EMFs or whatever.
Yeah, and this is a flat one for charging things up. Like you can put your phone on there, you can put your crystals on there. It's designed flat instead of like our pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
it does
it
the
doesn't
same thing.
drain, or it's a place to rest your phone. Does it mess with the
Yeah,
signal or anything?
I don't know. Apparently, they say no. You put your phone on there, and it gets rid of. It steps down the EMFs. It gets rid of the EMFs, but the phone works fine. It certainly isn't going to charge it for you. So don't put it on there.
I'd be worried about it draining it. Actually.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. I do know that the Argonite will expand your heart energy. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing a piece tonight. See, I don't know if you can see that. I can't get close
Yeah,
to the thing. It'll expand your heart energy, but step down the EMFs.
that's cool.
Super cool. How fun, right?
Yeah. Okay, so you got some orb pictures we can look at tonight?
We watched the video a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I played a bit of it. Like I've been following. Obviously we all follow Dolly, and she's just been getting more and more and more orbs. It's almost like the more she does it, the more they come.
Yeah, I've been
And she does
noticing it.
cool stuff like snapping her fingers. She's going to pop in tonight. I popped into her live stream while I was driving. It's always hard to do. You want to chat, but you can only chat at red lights.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, she supports this channel so much by being here and stuff, and I only get in her live stream a couple times a year, but
Well, she's going
she's
to do her
fantastic.
BQH with you, right?
Yeah, actually, we're
And
doing.
then
I haven't
you can have her
scheduled
on.
it.
You can have her on when you play it. Like if she play, is she gonna like let people listen to it?
Right, I don't know. We haven't even got that far. We haven't even scheduled it yet. So
Yeah, it's like you almost have to hear it first before you say, "Yeah, sure, Shane, you can broadcast it." It's like, what am I gonna
right.
say? Maybe I should know what I'm gonna say first. So okay, here we go. I'm getting to zippity doo dah screen share. A little quicker, not much. And these are just stills, guys. I just took stills of that video that I shared the other day. Okay, now I gotta shrink us. I'm getting there. And there they are. Okay, so that can you see that?
Yep.
That one's kind of thin and see-through, but it kind of reminds me of the clouds on Dead GPK and My Skies 5D and all of our other cloud sky
Hmm.
watching channels. We have so many. See that? There's almost like a spine in there, and there's a whole bunch of things going on. You want me to go in even more?
Yeah, yeah. You can go in some more.
Ooh, that's way in.
Yeah, you
Can
can actually
you
slide
see
that
that?
bar out a little bit if you
Okay.
want.
So can you see like
It's actually
how it's like a
there you go.
cloud inside?
Yeah.
The orb is like this orb is like a cloud inside. Don't you feel, can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's something right here,
It does look like sort of like a spine or
like a
something.
spine. So Dolly was talking today about her orb pictures, and everybody's like, well, none of us really know what an orb is for sure. Like, are they elementals? Elementals would be like nature elves, fairies, sprites, things like that.
Oh,
Or some
Angela's saying
people,
there's a green face.
oh, where? Here?
Ah, maybe
I
so.
see like a lion. I see an ear and an ear and a lion's face right there.
Oh, see, it almost looks like a wolf. Isn't that ironic?
Isn't it like looking at clouds, guys, and you see
Yeah.
what you see and everybody sees something different? There's something here. A butterfly? We got a butterfly there? Look at that. I see a butterfly.
Yeah. Or an angel.
Or an angel.
Can you see the big angel? Like where we thought was. Wait a minute. That where we
What?
thought was a spine almost looks like the rigid body of some type of maybe butterfly, right?
Yeah,
And then up at the top where you see
I
straight up
see
from
it.
the spine, you see. I don't know. That looks like the face. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I see a
and
face
then
here.
wings
Eye,
going way up.
nose. It's just like my skull. And what about that face over there?
See, I thought that could be an ear for the face you just said.
Oh, yeah, it sure could. Yeah, it looks like an ear now.
But I almost see like on each side of the spine, there's sort of a shaded area on each side that
Mm-hmm.
looks pretty
Mm-hmm.
symmetrical. That looks like it could be really big wings, like not flapping, but like just behind the figure in the middle. Do you
Yes.
see?
Or a rib cage on a spine. Ooh, do 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 do, right? Should I go out? Just
Yeah, let's
going
go out a
out.
little bit. Let's see if we see the green that she was talking about.
What do you think of that? Is that out enough or more?
Let's see the whole
Oh my
orb
God,
and
I
see.
see a skeleton here. I see a skeleton face and mouth and like a spine.
Oh yeah, what
See
is that
that?
ventriloquist that's got the little terrorist skull thing? That almost looks like that.
Scary ventriloquist, right?
Yeah.
Let me go out again. I don't
Okay.
know. I don't
I'm
know. This is
looking for
amazing.
green. The green is in the area that we were just looking at. It looks like.
Right here. I really see that little skeleton right there. Ooh, I see something up there. That's very wolfy.
Yeah.
Cool beans. Do you guys see a mouth and a nose and two eyes? And look at those
Ears
pointed
poking up.
ears.
Yep.
Yeah,
I see it. Yep. I
wolfy,
totally see
wolfy.
it. That's the wolf I was seeing when you were seeing the lion. I think, right?
Oh, is
Or
that
were
the
you
wolf
not?
you're looking at?
No, you were further down.
I think I was looking over here somewhere. Okay, more
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah. Let's go to another one. This is awesome.
It's
I
so
love
much fun.
pareidolia. I sit and stare at the clouds all day and do this, guys.
See, that's why we love staring at orbs because we stare at clouds all day long. Isn't that cool? That one snuck up on me.
Oh my gosh,
And when
it's
I
so bright.
turned to look at it, it flew away from me. It snuck up and flew away. And it's so white.
It
So
is.
we can go into it, but it's like I see something here, you know?
Yeah.
And some people say that they're like their dead relatives, like spirits are in orbs. Some people think they're elementals. Some people think they're interdimensional beings. But this planet, or whatever you want to call it, flat or round, it is so full of orbs, man. You just have to talk to them and they pop out.
Yeah. I think they're loving the attention that they're starting to get because more and
Yeah,
more
and they
people
love
are.
singing. See, Dolly started me singing to orbs. So do you want me to go in again? Because that one doesn't seem to have a lot of definition, but it sure
No,
is
it's
one.
more opaque than the last one. I mean, you can see through the bottom, but it looks
Yeah, it's
pretty thick
like
towards the top.
you cannot really see the wood through it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
Just the
cool?
edge where the light's hitting the wood is coming through,
Is that it? Is that what's coming through?
not the darker stuff. It's really
A little
opaque
bit of red
looking.
up here. See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's some other ones that you guys liked on the video. We show. What did it do that? What did it do that for? I'm confused. Oh
Oh, if you
man.
double click it, it'll go back to normal, and then you can your buttons will come up on the side.
Interesting. Thank you for that.
No
There it
problem. It
is.
took
There
me
it is.
forever to
Sneaking
figure
up
it
on
out.
me so that we can see where it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny when people call this dust. You get to see my kitchen too. That is not dust. There's no way that that little white blob, but perfectly spherical, is dust.
No.
Okay. Oh, Jem's been getting some orbs. She asked me to slow them down for her, and I did. Did we already do this one? How'd we get back to it? Oh, there we go. That is so cool. That's like really 3D.
Yeah, it is.
I've got a blow up of it coming up. I don't know why it went so small. That just happened during the process of emailing it to myself. So there you go.
Oh my gosh, I see a big happy face on that one.
You do?
It's almost a cartoony looking wolf to me. Like there's the
Like right
mouth,
here?
and that's
Like,
the nose in the middle, and then the eyes are really close to the top, so it's really cartoony
oh,
looking.
like way up there?
Yeah, and then that mouth is the whole way, so it's a huge
Yeah,
smile on
and
it.
then you
Yeah.
got a huge reflection coming
Mhm.
off here. It's got a bit of pink in it. It's very 3D to me because
Mhm.
that is not the wood behind it doing this.
That's really neat.
That is super cool. Again, another white one. And somebody was saying, oh, colors, some colors are good, some are bad. And I agreed with Dolly that all colors are good. You know,
Mhm.
and what do I do now to get back?
Double click,
Yep.
and then your buttons will come back. There you go.
Okay, you are an expert. Okay.
Ooh, this one's cool.
Yeah.
It's almost iridescent. Let's get in on that one. That's awesome.
Now this one started out yellow, and when it went over me and my daughter, it turned blue like Dolly's orbs. She gets lots of blue ones.
She does. That's cool.
There. That's as far in as we can go. Pretty see-through,
Yeah.
very blue. And when it was down, it was yellow. And then when I went up over our photo, it switched to blue. It reacted to the picture.
Wow.
So then I'm like, well, is that like my mom? I mean, are we getting orb energy from dead loved ones? Because all of my relatives who have passed are on that dresser.
Now Dolly gets the ones that's really that I've seen anyway. I haven't seen all of them, but I saw a post. I think it was actually one of her posts that she put up rather than a video. But I think it was a screenshot from one that was really bright blue, and it reminded me of the one that Jean showed us.
Way, way,
Uh,
way, way back.
right.
And
Very
I
cool.
think not as see-through as mine, maybe. Oh, that's another one. It's the same one, and when it moved away, it turned purple. I just wanted to show how they change
Oh,
colors. That's the same orb, but it started to move down and go into purples
but you
and
can
go.
clearly see the light hitting the side of it. I mean, it looks round. It looks like a
It
sphere.
looks round. It looks like a sphere.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a sphere being, maybe that's what orbs are.
Mm-hmm.
Interdimensional sphere beings. Okay, double click. I have a memory. Here we go. And that's it from far away.
You can zoom in on that one too. Is that the same one
Mhm.
though?
It
Oh,
is,
okay.
but I just wanted you to see where it is. But I'd be happy to zoom in. Maybe we'll see more faces going in from a large photo,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. There's yeah, conscious
I mean, you could
evolution.
say eye, mouth, you know, but it's more like a cartoony smiley face.
Very nice. Very
That's
colorful
it.
on that one. But yeah, wood grain is something good to stare at. Also, acoustic ceilings. You know where they spray the popcorn ceiling on your
Yeah.
the texture on the
Oh, I
ceiling.
have that.
Yeah, you can
Why
just
is that
stare at
good?
that for because you can
Oh, for
stare at it forever. You can lay back on your
faces.
couch and just stare at it, and
Yes. And you see faces and all kinds of things in it, right?
yeah. The
Different
first time I ever
timelines.
noticed that was I was a teenager in my apartment trying LSD for the first time, and I looked up and it was filled with smiley faces. The
Oh, yeah.
craziest thing I've ever
I
seen.
wonder why, right?
Right.
That's it, guys. I
Then
just
it
took those
started
nails
breathing, and
out.
I kind of freaked out a little bit. But
Your
that's a
ceiling
story.
started breathing. Oh my God.
Yeah, it started looking like it was almost like a balloon, um, almost like it was a balloon with texture on it, and it was sort of like just flexing a little bit. It looked like I could have just reached up and just tore it open, like it was just really fragile and really strange the way that works.
Unbelievable. I got slipped a Mickey once when I was like 18, and I thought I could put my hand through a wall because I could see the atoms moving in the bathroom wall. I'm like, whoa, I can put my hand through this. I don't think I did, though. Okay, so where are we? Do I have you back?
Yep, we are back.
Yay, that was fun. I love orbs. I could
Awesome.
just watch orb videos all day long. I'm very addicted to orb videos at the moment.
I'm trying to figure out how to get the ones I see on camera because I see ones that I don't I don't know if they show up on camera because they go away too quick and they're
Do you think
really
that's the
big.
flashes that you're catching over here and over
Yeah.
here? Do you think they're orbs maybe catching the light?
Yeah, I think maybe so.
Because I saw one sneak up on me and move away when I turned the camera on them. So some of them are shy.
And I noticed, just playing my guitar and stuff. And I see them whether I have my eyes open or not. So I know it's a third eye sort of thing. At least
Especially playing the
some of
guitar
it.
because I love music.
Right.
So I started singing to this old antique dresser that I have copying Dolly. I'm like, Dolly, I'm copying you in this video. And there were no orbs until I started singing. And then the orbs started coming out. So they definitely are attracted to music, probably attracted to art too.
There, I'm going to turn myself up. Sorry, guys. If
That's all
there,
right.
all
Were you
right.
quiet?
Yeah, I guess I wasn't checking the level good enough. I'll talk louder. Oops, a little
Oops,
too loud.
you're not that. Hey, does everybody knows what a Merkaba is, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
people call it a Merkaba, but I guess the pronunciation is a Merkaba. So a Merkaba has a top triangle and a bottom triangle, but I can't really show it with this, can I? Is there any way to get the triangles in?
Let me see. Okay, yeah,
Like
there
that.
we're seeing. Yeah, so what we're looking at there, they're exactly the same. So two overlapping, one pointed up,
Perfect.
one
One
pointed
up
down.
and one pointed down.
So
And I
it's
guess
three
if you do
sides,
it
not
this
like a
way, it's a
pyramid would
square.
ask for, right?
Nope, not like a pyramid. And the meditation later tonight that we're going to do is going to be more based on esoteric healing. And it's you imagine a Merkaba. Of course, your whole body's in a Merkaba, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine a soul star above your head in the shape of a Merkaba, and a soul star below your feet in the shape of a Merkaba. And the soul star below your feet is an energetic chakra that connects you to the earth. So you're never separated. It's like you're always plugged in to the earth, even if you're 3 stories up. It doesn't matter. You've got that connection. And then the Merkaba above your head is connecting you to either source or higher self, or both, based on who you want to call in and who you want the information from. And it's always there. It's never disconnected. So if you ever want to go to source God, or you want to go to your higher self, you can easily. And what they do is, those energy points, when you're meditating and you're drawing in energy. Somebody asked me some questions about the light that we work with, the 7 rays, when we meditate.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a little bit of research on it. And those energy points will step up the energy or step it down based on what you need in the moment. So if you're going, okay, I want to connect with my higher self, I want some answers, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to breathe, I'm going to relax, I'm going to connect. You don't have to worry about getting jolted with a big charge of energy that your body can't handle,
Right.
because the soul star, which is a Merkaba above you, is either stepping the energy up because you need more, or it's stepping it down because you need less. Isn't
That's
that
cool.
cool?
Yeah, it's like a regulator or
It's
something.
it's an energy regulator.
Very
And then
nice.
the one below our feet, the Merkaba below our feet, it's always 6 to 12 inches, they say, away. It's a very ancient um, form of Tibetan meditating. It was all from the Tibetan that Madame Blavatsky and Rudolf Steiner and Alice Bailey worked with. And the soul star at the bottom of your feet does the same thing. So maybe you're meditating and we're like all connected together, and we're going, let's just bring up that earth energy and let it go up our spine and out the top of our head and let it fill us up. That earth star is regulating it so that you don't get overcharged. You don't just
Mm,
get too much energy. You get what you need.
it's perfect. Probably
Yeah.
helps with grounding then too, to regulate the grounding of the
Totally about
energies.
grounding. And
Yeah.
it's never separated from you. You could fly in the airplane and you would still have this energy point connecting you to earth. As long as you're alive and as long as you're breathing and you're on earth, you've got these connections to earth, that just don't get
Mm-hmm.
broken, which is really interesting, because during the NDEs that we share and talk about, that's completely gone. You're just kind of out there floating, looking down on stuff. You just don't have that earth connection.
Well, that's cool because I've seen. I think it was Otto that did a. I can't think of his full name. What's that guy's name? The big. He does yoga and stuff. Big YouTuber, 500,000 or more people. Anyway, he did one. I think it was him anyway. That you can just ground anywhere, even on a plane. So that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
supports what you're saying because you don't really lose that connection.
You never lose that connection while you're alive. Here now on earth, whatever that is, round or flat, that is always, the connection is always there. That's like super cool. I think it makes us safe too for astral traveling and lucid dreaming. It means we
Okay.
can come home really quickly. You can come right back to your body.
That's tied in with the silver line that everybody talks about. Then probably.
Yeah. That when you're in an NDE, maybe not on life support, but you're flatlining, that silver cord is cut. You're, completely free floating. But what's interesting is people who are on life support have similar visions and sounds of people who are flatlining, but they're breathing. They're on something that's keeping that cord connected because the body's still alive.
Right.
So that's interesting that they have very similar experiences when they're in a coma as when they're flatlining.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was one of the lucky ones. I got to flatline at 17, totally unpredicted, very hard on my father, but I did come back becoming extremely mystical. Like, wow, that was cool. What was that? Why was I out there watching them work on my body? Whoa, that means you don't really die. You still exist, even though your body is not breathing.
That's really cool. What
Yeah.
was it? Was it the anesthesia, allergic reaction
Yeah, it was
anesthesia? Is
something
it?
like that. It's called anaphylaxis or anaphylactic
Mm-hmm.
shock.
So it's
I
like
just,
when somebody eats peanuts that can't have it,
yeah,
and they got to
one,
get the shot, the
same thing.
EpiPen. Right,
They
I
didn't
got you.
have EpiPens then. It was 1977. I was like 17 or 1978, right around there, 16, 17. And I was in Cairo in a medical office in a block of an oil company's offices, not even a doctor's,
Oh my gosh.
hospital. So
Thank
they didn't.
goodness they could bring you back, right?
Yeah, and it was hard because I wanted to go. And the doctor was like, doing heart resuscitation and adrenaline and going, talk to me. And when he got my heart going and the breathing going, I turned away and said, let me go. So, what kind of a teenager goes, no, let me go? It was a very mature response, which
Let me,
meant being free felt good.
oh yeah, absolutely. Free
Yeah.
from the body, I can imagine. So how long did it take you? I mean, okay, so my question is, because I've had the out of body experiences before, and it's just like I'm not clear headed enough to, there's just the fogginess there. It's kind of like that when I'm awake too, but a worse fogginess. So was there, like, how long did it take for you to realize that was your body there and stuff? Did you know right away, like, oh, that's me there? Or,
Never. I never found out. I was floating, and maybe the whole thing took 5 minutes, but you're in that slow mo where there is no time. Remember, we were talking about right
mm-hmm.
before an accident, everything slows down. So I was in like this suspended animation where there was no time, looking at this body below me and the people doing things and going, I don't have a clue what they're doing, and I don't know who that is.
So
So
it was
I,
only until later when you woke up that you're like, oh my gosh, I was looking at myself, and
and then
you put two
the,
and two together.
yeah, like I don't remember the moment when I left the body because I just literally passed out and the heart stopped, no respiratory, no heart pumping. So it was just darkness. So the next thing I know, I'm floating on the ceiling, watching things and people that I don't know who they are or what they're doing, and I'm not afraid. And I'm interested in what's happening, but I'm not afraid. And I can hear crystal clear and I can see perfectly, kind of through a fog, like a
Yeah.
brown fog, a haze.
But you still remember it after all this time, though. So it was
Oh,
clear
totally.
enough
'Cause that was
that,
so clear.
right.
And then the next thing I know, boom, I'm opening my eyes and I'm like, well, that was weird. And the doctor and my dad are like, well, what's weird? And I'm like, I watched the whole thing from the ceiling. And they're like, really? What happened? And I said, well, you got scared to the doctor. You sent the nurses out to get something, which was the adrenaline, and they didn't come back soon enough. So you left. And then you were really scared, my dad. And I could tell them what they were saying, when, at what point, what they said and what they did. And they were convinced. I watched them. They were like, oh my God, you really did watch us.
Oh my gosh, it's giving me chills. So,
Yeah, they were like totally convinced because I knew when the nurses left. I know when the doctor chased after them because they weren't, they were having trouble with his car keys or something because he locked up his adrenaline was in a bag in his trunk or something. It wasn't in the office. So anyway,
were
it
they
was
doing chest compressions or anything at all
yeah,
on
they were
you?
doing chest compressions, breathing,
The squeezing the,
yeah,
oh, okay.
and they're trying to, but the heart wasn't starting to go on its own. But the adrenaline worked. And then the first shot of adrenaline, he got the heart going.
Do
And
you have
I
to do it
said,
right into your heart?
I don't even know where he gave it to me.
Because I think they have to do it right into the
I
heart.
don't
So I
know.
was
I saw
wondering if
Pulp
you could
Fiction.
remember where he did it at. Like, was it on the left or was it right in the middle up high where the heart is
Yeah, I
now?
would have seen that and I would have noticed that, but I didn't notice it going in the heart like Pulp Fiction.
So maybe an IV or something?
No IVs. Nope. Straight into the body. he didn't have time for that. And then when my heart was going and I started to talk again and come around, I said, let me go. And he gave me a second shot of adrenaline. So then I was 17, I had to lay flat for 8 hours because I would have a heart attack if I stood up and tried to walk around because I had so much adrenaline. I had twice the normal
Oh my
amount.
gosh.
Yeah.
Talk
Like,
about, oh my gosh, talk about feeling, because I mean, you'd be antsy as heck with the adrenaline, but you can't. It's like, if you move around, then you're going to get your heart beating too fast. So,
exactly.
have
And
you
then
ever wanted to move so badly in your life?
I lifted my leg to test it out, and the leg was shaking like a leaf. I'd lift the leg up, and it would just start shaking from the adrenaline. So
Wow.
I didn't have any control over the muscles at all. I could barely walk up the stairs. I remember my dad pretty much carrying me up the stairs because after that much adrenaline, you lose your muscle tone. So it's really hard to use them and be strong. But that was fascinating. And the part about not remembering who I was kind of freaky. It was like, why didn't I know who that was? Why, when I was suspended without the cord to the body, I had no ego because I had no identity.
Did you feel expansive like Jill
Very
Bolte?
expansive, like
Like,
no boundaries of the body.
that's how
Like,
Jill Bolte Taylor explains that stroke of insight, my stroke of insight, or whatever it was. She had a stroke, the neuro anatomist
yep,
that got to check out what it's like to have a stroke from the other side. So it's cool for her to have all that
expensive.
education, and then yeah, and she talks about how she felt so expansive, and there was nothing but the now. I mean, all the things
You're
we
out
talk
of
about that we try to
time.
get to.
You're out of time. You're out of space because your consciousness just is. So it has no boundary.
And she said she even remembered wondering, how are they going to put all this back into
How am I going to
that?
get all this back into there? Yeah, and I didn't even think of that because I didn't have a connection of who that was below me, which surprised me. I thought that you at least knew who you were looking at.
So
Like,
that's really
oh
interesting
crap, I need to
data.
get back in there.
Right, right. But you didn't have the fear because that's ego
No.
based.
If I knew that that was me, I'd be like, holy moly, I need to get back in there. That would create fear. But because I didn't know that was me and I was just out floating around having a good time, no fear, none at all.
So it makes me wonder because this is a lot of really valuable data right here because clearly memories are not held within the brain
No,
because
no.
this was while you weren't in your brain, basically, right?
Yeah, and guess what? They did a study to prove that. And it's a horrible study. I think I might have mentioned it on a show a long time ago that we did, where some scientists took either a mouse or rats, mice or rats. They taught them a maze, right? Like by putting the food at the end, they learned turn left, turn right, turn left to right. And then they systematically removed parts of their brain. So they'd remove the left part of the brain, get them to where they could move around and eat. They'd still know the maze. And then they take them out and remove the right part of the brain, get them to the point where they could move around again. So they must have left the part of the brain where you can walk, right?
Hmm.
And they knew the maze. They basically removed all the parts of the brain except for the motor skills. And the rats, these poor little creatures, still knew the maze. So they determined that memory is out here around us and it's floating in our auric field, and your brain just shoots over to find the memory and pull it in. Like, do you ever watch people's eyes? They're like, and their
Hmm.
eyes start like looking around and then they pull the memory in. Or they go, I can't remember that. Why can't I remember that? It'll come to me at 4 o'clock in the morning, you know?
Yeah, and there's that trick that you can use where you have somebody think of an item, their favorite item, and then you have them think of their favorite song, and then you have them think of their favorite, what is it? I think it's memory. I think it's like an event or a memory or
Okay.
of an. So then once they get three items in their mind, you tell them you're going to tell them which one they're thinking about, and
Oh
then you
my
say now
gosh.
pick one of them. So the way you do it is
Where
if
based on where their eyes go?
exactly. So if they're thinking of the memory or something visual, they will look upward for it. If it's a sound, they will look sideways, even with the ears. And if they're thinking of the item that they hold in their hand, they'll look down.
Wow. So it's like a
Yeah,
magic trick. It explains those mentalists, those
exactly.
mentalists who can
Yeah,
walk on stage and know what people are thinking,
right.
right?
Exactly. So if you ask somebody, like if you ask your kid, well, what happened at school today or whatever, and they start looking down, they're not thinking about their memory because they're
No,
thinking, or if you see them looking to the side, then did someone say something to you today that bothered
because you're
you, or
thinking of the
because they're
ears.
thinking of the sound or maybe something someone said. So yeah, we say a lot by our micro, not only our micro expressions, but our major expressions that we do. That
Wow. And
macro expressions.
autism, high functioning autism, is the inability to read those expressions in other people and to not know what they're feeling or thinking and be like side, to be surprised and not be able to see people getting angry or see people getting confused by just not
Right.
reading the micro expressions.
That other thing is, and a lot of us do that intuitively. But that the one thing that's really weird is the people that can only see half of a face, or they don't have the facial recognition part of their brain. I think there was a movie about that that was pretty interesting.
Oh, I
So they
haven't
couldn't
seen that.
recognize people by their faces.
Oh, that would be very hard for me because I don't remember names very well, but I always remember a face. But it's hard for me to remember a name without putting a game to it, like what celebrity do they look like? Or like, okay, like thinking of a celebrity name or so, something to give me some clue as to who they are.
What celebrity did you have for me? Lionel Richie?
No, isn't that weird? I didn't have one for you. So that probably means that we do go back, that we did have like prior experience together because I didn't have to do that with you.
That's
But
cool.
then I was lucky. I got to watch you for a long time on video before we actually met.
Right, right.
So I knew your personality, I knew your facial expressions, right? Your
And for me,
voice.
you were this dude that turned into a woman,
Dude.
and
Yes, I was always bro. Hey, bro. Hey, dude. It must be the way I type things. I probably type them so short and succinct. They're like, oh, that's a guy. That's got to be a guy.
yeah, I think you'd be like heading up north, got a hurricane coming. I'm like, all right, dude, be safe on the highway
Be
and
safe,
stuff.
bro. Be safe, dude. I used to like it. I used to laugh. It used to make me feel funny. I was like, oh my God, that's so funny.
And then I talked you
You,
into
you
doing
and
the
Unirock used
channel,
to
and you
call
came
me
out and you're
dude.
like, no, everybody thinks I'm a guy, but no, I'm actually a
Yeah.
girl. So that was funny.
Although I have a really cool story. I am heterosexual, but I'm not like judging other people. And my husband passed away, and I have a child, and I'm happy with who I am. I've never been confused. But my mother lost a child that 2 years before I was born, Michael, who was male. And a psychic told her, well, Michael is still, bye, sweetheart, Michael is still in your life. And she went, no, I lost Michael. And he was like, no, Michael's very important to you. And then when I walked up to her, he goes, there, that's Michael. He pointed to me and said, there's Michael. And so what my mom and I figured was possibly I might have tried to come through 2 years earlier, but the child was stillborn, was alive until the birth. And then I came through 2 years later into a female body. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's like sort of like when you're setting up your life, they send you down and then you're having to come back. You're like, just wait, she'll get pregnant in a couple of years. We'll
yep,
send you
just
right
wait.
back, and
Just wait. There'll be
probably
one
like no
more.
time from that side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 years is what? Not even a blink of an eye.
Right.
If a day is 1,000 years. I mean, on the other side where there is no time, there's no day. There's no waiting. They're
right. They
just
probably immediately just moved to the other event, you know, from the
yeah.
other side,
So it
rather
is
than
possible
having to
that I
wait 2 years.
that I planned to come in on this lifetime as a male, and it just got slightly. There was a hiccup in the process. You know.
But that's cool. It made you more balanced, more in touch with your masculine side, probably.
Oh
Like I'm in
yeah.
touch with my feminine side, and I've always been
Mhm.
heterosexual too. So, but there is a balance needed with. In fact, that's what the whole Mandela effect's been telling me. You know,
The
with.
balance, the left and the right, the male and the
Mm-hmm.
female. I always climbed trees. I was the only girl allowed in the boys' clubhouse in my neighborhood. I always had that side of me where I would have been comfortable had I been born a boy.
And that's weird that other kids like instinctually or intuitively felt that from you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they're like, "Oh, Eileen can come in," and I'm like, "Ew, no, I don't want to come in here because they stole their dad's Playboy, and they plastered the inside of this clubhouse with boobs." And I'm like, "This is gross. Why do you have boobs on the wall?" So I guess I wasn't a boy because I
But
couldn't.
were you were sort of tomboyish, but you always liked
I was
boys
still a
as
girl.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
that's just too funny.
You
But
just weren't the
never
princess
wore
type.
makeup. Yeah, I guess I wore makeup in high school maybe and then stopped. Never had the fingernails and the eyelashes, never did the girly stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind of
too high
fun.
maintenance.
It is high maintenance, but it's funny that you are in touch with your feminine side because that's the nurturing side. And we really have to have both. We need strong women and nurturing men. And it doesn't have anything to do with sexuality. It's like, it's just balance.
Well, on the higher level, we're androgynous, or I think, if we go high
Well,
up enough on the,
God is androgynous, right?
right,
God is everything and everyone. So God is not masculine or feminine.
all right. In fact, if you look at some of the, some like the Nag Hammadi text, where they will put our father in the Bible, and that they'll say our father, mother. They actually say our father, mother. They say both. Like
Isn't
it's,
that nice?
that's cool. I
And
rather the Bible did that too,
is
but
that's the Gnostic. The
yeah.
Nag Hammadi texts
Mm-hmm.
were
It's the
Gnostic,
Gnostic.
which
Mm-hmm.
were the first Christians who were persecuted and came out of Jerusalem, settled in Egypt.
And
And
it was very,
their
and
churches were Mary. Their churches were named after Mary, Mother Mary, or Mary Magdalene. Don't
all
know which
right,
one.
and
Their first churches.
yeah, marrying the blue rose,
Hmm.
something I think, something. Yeah,
Those were the
but I
first
like
churches in
that
Egypt.
because that was like really unorganized. When I say unorganized, I mean it wasn't like organized religion. It was more like everybody recognized that we're all on our own journey, and that
Yeah.
that we have decisions and tests and things like that, and you can't have sort of this cutter solution for everyone like some of the religions today have. It's a very personal journey. That's why I like that was sort of my last stop. Like I guess I'm probably sort of Gnostic. I've just dropped the
I'm kind of
labels
sort of
because
Gnostic too, but dropped the label too. They also allowed women to spread the word
mm-hmm,
in the early church. Women were not removed from the process, from what I
exactly.
understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jesus was more Gnostic too. I mean, it comes
Yeah,
through a little bit. You know what I mean?
it
Like
does. And what
he,
about the Essenes, the really mystical Essenes? That possibly the Dead Sea Scrolls
right,
that
exactly.
possibly taught him. And don't they say that during the missing years he was in the East studying Buddhism and Hinduism? Isn't that
Mm-hmm.
cool? I mean, when you
Yeah.
think of that, you can't prove it.
All right. I even heard he
Obviously.
went to the pyramids in Egypt and everything.
Yeah. Well, you got to realize that, Sumerian, Mesopotamia, that whole region was established as a trade route.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the region of the world that was active at that time with money and trade and all that stuff.
There was even something that after his death, or after his resurrection, I guess you would say, but after the time of all of that, after 32 or 33, he went to the Far East and ended up being buried there like a long time later.
That's
And they
interesting.
could tell because his grave was east to west, and they always did north to south, and there was a cross on it or something. Did you ever see that? I
Oh,
don't know. It was like a
no.
documentary I saw or something. I don't
Well,
really
now
know,
they're
but yeah.
saying that he wasn't crucified on a cross. He was killed on a tree. Have you been hearing that? And they're going, oh,
Yeah,
Mandela effect.
right.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It could be a
Uh,
wording thing. I'm just not sure.
Could be a wording thing, or maybe they didn't make crosses back then. Maybe they used trees to be their crosses. Who knows,
Right.
right?
And just
We have to
sort
go
of
back.
nailed the cross piece onto a tree or something.
Exactly.
But I remember old gospel hymns in our old country church I used to go to, and you're singing old gospel hymn, and it was like, on that old tree or whatever. So it's not new to me to hear
Oh,
that term.
okay.
It's in a lot of the old gospels.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it is for me anyway. It was. So to hear tree wasn't odd when I heard it.
Well, sometimes the Mandela effect is just something you've never heard before, but it was always there. And something today hit me that I never knew was there, and that was the country of Moldova. I always knew Moldavite, which I'm wearing, from Moldavia, which was a province in the Czech Republic, but I didn't realize that far away towards Estonia, there's an independent country of Moldova. I'm like, well, where did that country come from? Does that sound normal to you? It's like, has Moldova been there in your brain all this time?
No.
Me neither, and it's right there. And it said that it was an independent country from like 1400 to 1800. Then Russia sucked it up, and then in 1812, and then they gave it back when the Soviet bloc disintegrated in 1991. So I'm like, really? There's been a Moldova all this time? I had no clue.
Now the weird thing is, I have that map that got Mandela affected, and when I go to the islands that weren't there when I created it, but they're there now. It's
Oh
places I've
yeah.
heard of, so I really don't know what's going on. And I just
Yeah,
pulled that
lands are
out.
rising, definitely, and water is receding.
If you look in the Pacific Ocean, there's probably okay. So there used to not be anything over like to the left of South America, just all ocean. I didn't have
Vast
any
water.
artwork over there. It
Yeah,
was just water.
yeah.
Now it is just riddled with islands. I'm like, oh
Riddled
my
with
gosh.
islands.
And you get all the way to the edge, and then you go to the other side of the map over by Southeast Asia, just really far, like Philippines and
Yep.
like down towards the south. And they continue over there, and it's this Fiji. And I'm like, well, I've heard of Fiji.
Yeah.
How do you not hear of Fiji? So
Yeah, I've
I
heard of
don't know if
Fiji.
it,
I've been to Fiji.
but it's labeled down there like a string of islands, and there's all these other ones that are labeled, but they weren't there when I created my map. Is what I'm saying. And even Ibiza,
Yep.
Spain, or Ibiza.
No, you're saying it correctly. They say it Ibiza, but it's spelled Ibiza.
Right, right. So over here we kind of say that way, but yeah, it's an island that wasn't there when I did the map, but
Mhm.
I've known about it since I don't know 2004. So it's like things have moved, you
Things have
know.
not only moved, but it's like land is shrinking. I can drive distances in the state of Florida much in shorter periods of time than I could 6 years ago.
All right,
A trip that would take 4 to 5 hours now takes about 3.5. And I'm like, why is that? It's not like I'm driving faster. It means that the space is shrinking.
exactly. Sort
You
of
know,
like the way Australia is so close now to what is that? There is that
Tasmania, no, to New
I
Zealand,
know
Tasmania, Bali, Indonesia. It's so close to Indonesia, you could throw a stone there. And the same is true with the boot of Italy and Sicily. It's like
exactly.
touching,
So it
and
almost
the
makes
Rock of
you.
Gibraltar, the Straits of Gibraltar, not an island, just a peninsula. Is that what it's called when it sticks out in the water a little bit? Just
Hmm.
touching Morocco. Like barely get a boat through there. It's so close.
How much time do we? Okay, I was going to say I could pull that up, but we need to do that one time. In
I
fact,
want to see your map.
I want to get on there. Okay, so a lot of people see it and outright like discount it because if I was going to fake it, I would have moved South America over and I would have done some stuff with New Zealand. But those things don't seem to be like people remember it. So they see it and they're like, well, that's not the old Earth I remember. But there's so many details that people don't see because they outright discount it the moment they see, well, South America still looks to the right. Actually, when I looked at it this time, South America looks so narrow since the last time I looked at it. I'm like,
Seriously?
it
On
looks
your
like it's
map
a
or on the
third.
really?
Well, let me pull it up and see if.
Because we got time. We don't have to do the meditation till 20 past. We don't even have to do it then. We can do what we like here.
Let me find a world map here and pull it up for us to look at. World. Oh, you can see where I was looking at the other day. Okay, so
So
image.
sometime after the Mandela Effect conference next week, bring your map on. I really want to see different parts of your map. And like, what year did you make it? Was that 2000?
I made it in 2011, or at
Okay.
least I finished it in 2011. I might have started in 2010. So what it was is, okay. Here's the other thing about it is that it was for an international contest that was going to take place in Japan, of all places. So there's no way I would have messed up one of these small areas because I didn't know where the judges were coming from. I knew they were coming from all over the world. I didn't want to jack up one of the judges' islands though, so I was very meticulous. It took like a year to do the thing. I want to share my screen here, and
I think Lone Eagle used to like draw a line around the continents. And I know Chick Channel, she does a lot. Is that a modern world map? Because the United States looks really small, doesn't it? Like
doesn't this look narrow
Australia.
too?
That looks very narrow. Like
So I was
Africa
looking
looks
at it, and
okay. Africa looks all right, but Africa's in the center now, whereas before North America and South America looked bigger, and then the water was in the center. Remember?
mm-hmm.
Like the Atlantic Ocean would be in the center, and then the land masses would be on either side.
I can try pulling up one that. Okay, so this one looks like they sort of try to round it a little bit to be globish. Like you see how
Yeah,
this is.
it does look rounded.
So let me open up another one that looks flatter. Okay, but still, I don't know. It still looks narrow to me. Does that not
Oh,
look narrow to you?
that looks super narrow. South
I mean,
America's disappearing. It looks really small.
it's
It
crazy.
doesn't look like itself at all. South America always looked like a version of North America, but in a different shape.
Now, what I always tell people is I can't be sure about this moving to the right as much as, because see, what I
The
look at
bottom
is
looks like it
Florida.
moved to the left, and the top of it looked like it moved to the right. It's even pointing like in the wrong direction.
Right, because I remember looking at Florida and thinking if you drew a line straight out from Florida, now it's going down the west coast of South America,
And it
which it
used to
really
go down the
isn't
East
anymore.
Coast.
And
It
it used
used
to
to go down the
be,
East Coast.
all right. So I don't know. It's all looking different to
It's
me.
like
I
it's
mean, look.
pointing. It's like South America's pointing the bottom bit in the wrong direction. It should
Hmm.
be pointing towards Africa,
And look
and
at
it's
this even
pointing
got
away.
pulled.
Yeah, what the heck is that? Is that Antarctic reaching
I
out
don't,
like a little spidery arm to touch South America?
I don't know. This is
Yeah,
weird though.
look at that little piece sticking out there.
This looks like it's dang near touching now.
Yeah,
New Guinea
and of course I remember New Zealand being um,
up here somewhere, and
yep,
this being
right there.
down.
Yeah, up, up. Yeah,
Right, like up here.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Fascinating. And Greenland, what the heck? Greenland's bigger than America and Canada. Greenland's like huge. Greenland's bigger than South America. That's insane. Do you guys remember how small Greenland used to be? Come on. Do you remember how small it was?
Well, I know sometimes it gets squashed. So
That's huge.
let me find another one just in case.
And of course, now they're saying that Greenland is the Arctic because it's covered with snow and it has land. And that the Arctic, which is what we used to think of as the North Pole where Santa lived, was always water. And I'm like, no, no, not in my memory. It used to have ice.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
come on, Greenland, look at the size of Greenland. Holy moly, look at it compared to the size of Australia. Maybe there's something wrong with this map. I don't know.
I'm
And
trying to find
Alaska
one
is
that.
huge. Oh my God, Alaska is now
Look at Canada.
almost the size of America, and Canada's huge.
See, I think on my map, this all got squashed down because these islands, you can tell they're all elongated this direction on the
Well, all
one
those
that I did
islands
my
used to
art
be
on.
under snow. That used to be our Arctic North Pole that people went and walked on, remember?
Yeah.
All those islands were covered in snow, and now all the snow is over Greenland.
Okay, so here is at least my artwork that I did.
That's your
Okay, so
artwork? Wow.
yeah, so
Now
do you
your
see how
South
this is
America looks
squashed?
more normal to me.
But this is doing that too. Look at that. It's doing that. Like these used to
Yeah.
be
Did you
connected
put
and
that in
something.
there? Did you start to connect the Antarctic to South America like that? I bet you didn't.
No, now see, when I did it, I try to tell people, I'm like, I really had no idea about the map at all. I'm not, I know my
Oh, no,
area and
you
stuff,
didn't
but
put Cuba inside the Gulf, closing it off into a lake. You've got Cuba the way I remember it.
oh, really?
Yeah.
So when you look at the overlays, let me see if I got any.
You've got Greenland smaller. You've got, look at how small Alaska is. Look how big America is. Look how small Canada is. I'm feeling very at home on this map. This is kind of
But
the way
this
I
still looks
remember the
narrow
world.
to me too.
Huh?
This South America still looks narrower to me. It looked more like Africa to me before, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
And I don't remember that much land at the bottom for
Yeah,
Antarctica.
and I've been noticing how they cut off Antarctica now, because this is really round. You know what I mean? It's like, so you're looking at this touches over here, and this actually gets wrapped around. And I realized that when they had that, on the globe model anyway, or if on the flat Earth model, then it goes all the way around the whole thing. But when when they were talking about those Fitbits, is that what they call those things?
That you check your heart beat and
Yeah, and
your
it
steps
tracks it tracks, what do you call it? It tracks like how far you walk and where you walk, and you could actually go down there and see that there was people down in Antarctica that all these tracks down there.
Fitbits on in Antarctica. How funny!
Right. Yeah, and you could go and read the data, and you could see where people were going and they shouldn't have been there, but you could see where people went over like the pole and came out over here, so you could see that they went here and came out there, like it was connected. But
Oh, weird. By the way, don't sleep with those Fitbits on. I saw some pictures of people who their Fitbits caught on fire while they were sleeping. I'm like, what? What?
gosh,
Because they're like microwave. They have like microwave technology, like smart meters. Who wants to wear a smart meter on their wrist? Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Let me let.
It's a beautiful map. It's a really nice map. But
Oh, thank you,
it
Tina.
felt good because Alaska was the right size, America was the right size. The current map is just crazy to me. Greenland's blown up, Alaska's blown up, America's shrunk, South America shrunk.
But the one that I showed in the beginning looks like they squashed the side. So let me try to. But this one doesn't even have
How
South
about on
America.
Google
Let me
Earth?
go back.
Google Earth is always an animation, isn't it? You're always
Yeah,
just getting their picture of it drawn.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they sort of just, I don't know. Like here's the big one, but here's the first one. And you can tell this is squashed, you know?
But Greenland and Alaska look more normal to me. They're not like huge.
Mm hmm. Sort of got that perspective going away. And you can
Yeah,
tell
maybe that's
because this line on Alaska is kind of straight up and down, but look how it's almost at a 45. So
yeah.
they're definitely having to warp it here. But I just saw a
Oh, I
video
don't
how
remember
difficult it is.
those islands that you're on now, Indonesia, going down. I remember them going out, like sweeping out to the east, not just going straight down.
Well,
If you go on Google Earth and you go to the Pacific Ocean, that's all there is now. There's just ocean on that side with, a lot of islands, but there's no land masses. It's
yeah,
like the land masses have all scrunched over to one side of the world, if you believe in the globe,
right.
right? Have you looked at that
Well,
on?
see, this would still be over here if we're looking at a flat Earth model,
Yes. How
because
would it
this
connect
this would
flat Earth?
wrap
It doesn't
all the way
connect, does
around to
it?
here. So yeah, when you come over here, you're still going to come over here.
Even on flat plane?
Hmm.
How?
But this doesn't even show because if you can imagine sticking a pin in up here at the top where it says Arctic Ocean, and then stretching this all the way around in a big donut and stretching this all the way around in a big donut and touching them, then we'd be looking, America would be pointing out this way, all this would be pointing out this way, and all of it would stretch and elongate. And that's why the flat Earth maps look sort of. Let me see if I can find a flat
See if
Earth
you can
map.
pull one up. Mexico's looking big on that map.
Let's
Oh, and that
see.
little skinny, what was that Chile? She's like so tiny in South America going down along Argentina or something.
Okay, images.
I remember Australia, a different shape than that one. That one looks a little stretched as well and pulled and tugged.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the flat. I'm trying to find one that doesn't look
I mean,
so
God,
warped.
look at how far south New Zealand is like falling off into the Arctic. Pretty soon it's going to be off the map. It's just falling away.
Okay, here's one.
That's a flat. Okay, let's see if we can figure this out. Okay, I see. Wow, look at where South America is on a flat Earth map. That's
Oh
crazy to the
wow.
right,
Yeah.
right? It's like really
Because
way over there.
the further down you go, the more stretched it's going to be. Look at these islands that
Uh-huh. And then what's
and
that big long skinny thing on the yeah, what's that?
that is Australia.
The blue and the yellow?
Is
They
that time
totally
zones
look
maybe?
at shape.
I believe that's time zones.
Oh, gotcha.
It's hard to recognize. Okay, so
It's
this
hard
is
to recognize Australia.
Alaska going into Russia.
Greenland's looking pretty big on that map.
Okay, Greenland would be.
That blue thing up off the center to your right. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's big. And it's not in the right place according to our maps. Is it?
Let's,
Maybe it is.
what does that say? What is
It is in the right place. Hmm. So basically, on a flat Earth, you get to go around in a circle just like a globe,
that? Yeah.
right? Which makes you think you're on a globe because if you fly around the world or sail around the world, you still get to go around it as if it's a globe.
Yeah. That's New Zealand then, right?
Yeah, totally whacked out, really far away from Australia.
Why did, why didn't they put Alaska on? Why are all these
Now,
maps
what if
missing
you started
Antarctica?
sailing one direction? Wouldn't you like? Do you really come right around on yourself? I mean, isn't it possible to sail off a flat Earth?
No, because I think with the flat Earth model, there's an ice wall at the edge.
So
So you
anytime you get to it, you think you've gotten to Antarctic.
right, and then you're on your boat right along the wall. You don't notice your turn, just like on a globe model. If you're flying, you don't notice that you're curving over the horizon in a plane. You just feel like you're flying flat because it's so huge. So either way, yeah, you'd be going around here and never realizing you're slightly turning.
And
You
in the
just feel like you're
center,
going
there's a
straight.
big hole, according to Admiral Byrd. And the fact that America has made it a no-fly zone adds suspicion to that story. You
Sure
may not
does.
fly over the hole or the Arctic, or we'll shoot you down. Okay, what's up there? What are you hiding? You know,
Yeah.
where's the hole?
Yeah, I'm with Mel with it. I think, I don't think we can get far enough away to load in all of that, so to speak. I feel like we only see what we see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we only see what we see. And if it's a big holographic soup, anyway, none of that is real anyway. It's just an agreed perception. Like we,
Like a
we
consensus
a
reality.
consensus reality. We've agreed the sky is blue and the grass is green. You teach that to all the clean slates that are born, who have had their memories wiped, and you teach them that's blue, that's green, that's land, that's water.
hmm
And it's like, okay, I agree with that. I got the programming.
hmm Yeah, because whenever I would have to build worlds in a 3D program for college, I mean, it's like way different. Like 2D animation and 3D animation. In 3D animation, you're in a real 3D world environment with real. I mean, you have to actually plug in the numbers for Well, by default, it starts on Earth, so you've got the gravity at 9.8 or whatever it is, and so you can turn on real world effects to where things will
That's
respond
cool.
at their weight limit with that. You can turn on colliders where things will respond with each other and all of that. And you never have to worry about the shape of the whole thing because you're never, even if you're doing a huge game, it's always going to be a big flat area. But in the sky, the moon, the stars, the sun, everything that's projected as a sphere, like you're inside the sphere. So it works for either either worldview. If you believe in the globe or if you believe in the flat
Flatter.
Earth, it's the same in the 3D program because you're never going to
That's
pull out of
cool.
the 3D program far enough to see that if it's round
Well,
or
then that
flat.
kind of gives credence to the holographic universe where
Exactly.
both models work. And another
Yeah.
model, come up with another model, that'll work too, you
Right.
know?
Like the donut, the heart shape, like I believe in, or eyeball, like Sherry.
Sherry's eyeball. Not Sherry's
Exactly.
eyeball, but eyeball theory,
Right.
which actually makes sense because of toroidal fields. So they're
hmm
even saying that like our eyeballs and our pupils are toroidal fields. You can see the energy. It's like they're the toroidal fields for our higher self to access this world. And they can access it through the toroidal fields of the eyeballs.
Right.
They can get down here and see what's going on down here.
So in the hollow theory, the hole at the pole,
Yeah,
that would be the
that
pupil, right?
would be the pupil. That would be the hole. Yeah,
Admiral Byrd went in the pupil of the Earth.
the pupil of the earth. Now that makes total sense. And the question is that eye on its own, or is there a matching eyeball right next to it, which would be a matching universe, which would be the next universe next door, which would be the parallel
Right.
dimensions,
So who
And
are these
then,
people in the eyeball, right? That Admiral Byrd met with.
yeah, well, didn't he have a war? He had like a mini war skirmishes up there. I think he did. I think he had some skirmishes with either the Nazis or aliens. Some say it was with aliens.
Right, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I thought, did he go to the North and the South Pole?
Well, he
Maybe I'm
definitely went to the
confused.
south. He definitely went to the Antarctic, and that's where it got all with the hole. Like there's no hole in the North Pole, but there's a hole in the South Pole.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I knew he went to the Antarctic. Okay, so in my mind, I remembered it as the Antarctic expedition was the one where they encountered, the Nazis and all that. And the
Yep.
North is when he was pulled into the hole and met by the people. But
Oh,
that's just how I
in my
remembered it.
mind that was all in the South.
Okay, it could have been. I could have
But it could have
remembered
been
it wrong.
because my memory and history and facts, you pick them up here and then you let them go. You make room for more information.
Right. And that's
So,
the other thing that reminded me. I guess, and this could be why I'm confused. I know they were going on some expedition nowadays, and they were gonna rent one of those Russian nuclear icebreakers and head To the North
south
Pole.
to the North Pole,
Yeah.
but it's all water now. All the ice is supposedly gone, and the only ice left is on Greenland. You couldn't bust that up anyway, so the only place you can bust up ice in the water is now the South Pole,
Well, this
right?
was, I think,
A long time
2008
ago.
or something like that. And that
Um,
was back when Santa had a place to live up there, I think. So.
yeah, and do we ever really believe that what they're telling us is the truth anyway? So who knows when there was or wasn't snow up there? I mean, I remember expedition people walking up there in snowshoes, right?
What about ice road truckers? What does that show? Did it never exist
Isn't
now?
that isn't that in
Is that South?
Australia? Is that Alaska?
I don't
Ice
know.
road truckers. It sounds is that
Maybe.
Alaska?
It seemed like it was up in the well, what do they call it? The Arctic. So that'd
The
be the
Arctic.
north. Yeah.
So I'm just putting in Admiral Byrd. How do you spell Bird? Is it like the bird or Byrd?
Hmm. I think it's BY.
Okay.
I have a
And I'm
dual
just
memory.
putting
Maybe it's a
North
Mandela effect.
Pole. Or should I put Arctic? Arctic. And I want to see if something pops up saying that he was up in the Arctic.
Yeah, it's Y. Admiral Byrd.
He's a pioneering American aviator, a polar explorer. Well, that's North Pole, South Pole, you know? And the organizer of polar logistics. So, yeah, definitely your memory's good. I just never came across anything talking about him at the North Pole. Do you think that's where the hole is? You don't think the hole is in the South Pole?
I think the hole goes all the way through in the hollow Earth theory.
It says Byrd claimed that his expeditions had been the first to reach both the North Pole and South Pole. I'm getting Mandela right now because I remember somebody else made it first to the North Pole. Do you remember those English explorers?
Mm,
Come on. And one of them died, right? This is interesting because
I'm
Byrd
not a
never,
history buff at all,
yeah,
so
Byrd was
it's not
never the
that it didn't
first one
happen.
on the North Pole. That's for sure.
Here, we got some smart people in the chat. Yep.
Yeah, it's not going into when he went to the North Pole and when he went to the South Pole. It's just saying he did both.
Okay, this is Mal Dumas is saying
Hey, Mel,
toroidal fields are most definitely involved. Now, this is the whole
with the
thing. When I
eyeballs
see,
or with the hole in the Arctic? Does
well, when
Mel
you
say
think
both?
when you think of okay, so I was just explaining the 3D program. You can make a donut, right, with a big hole in the middle. But when you shrink the size of the hole through the toroidal field, it almost looks like a perfect sphere. I mean, you could barely even tell
Yeah,
that it
that's why
because
they're
this is a
getting mixed
narrow.
up with black holes. The
There's a
toroidal
narrow
fields are often
pathway.
seen as black holes, and they're not. They're toroidal fields because they look like a sphere.
So our planet, if even if they zoomed out and they said, "Oh, it is a globe. We finally seen it," blah blah blah. It doesn't mean it's not hollow, and it doesn't mean it's not a toroidal
Yeah,
field.
because toroidal fields are hollow. There's the magnetism. There's the energy going in and out of them, like those primer field videos that we watched.
And they were actually talking about in the hollow Earth theory that the hole would be either 70 or 90 miles in diameter or
That
across.
sounds pretty small.
So they were saying that you could actually take a boat into it and never even realize because you can only see a few miles or something like a dozen miles at the most and before like your vision's cut down. So you wouldn't even
Interesting.
notice that you're slowly going in because the gravity would constantly pull you to the mass. So you'd go all the way on the inside, and then you'd be on the inside of the planet, stuck. We'd be
It kind of
foot to
sounds like
foot,
going into
basically.
a torus,
All
into
right.
going into a toroidal hole.
Yeah, it does.
Like these scientists have found toroidal energy going around every planet, everything
Yeah.
that there is, including human beings. And maybe that makes up the planet, the toroidal field. Like it's not solid, it's just this toroidal field of energy.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And we
And it's
perceive
like
it
the
as
dirt and
solid.
the land is stuck to it, so it makes it appear that I don't know. It's crazy when you think about it, though. So much we
Well,
don't know.
Mandela effect is making us flip out to another dimension of maybe the toroidal field. Maybe we're in the process of moving into the toroidal field because at some point you have to go in it, or maybe we're in the process of moving out of it because at some point you have to go out. The energy goes out of the toroidal field. So that would shift perception, which would account for the Mandela effect.
And if you could actually go in the inside of the Earth and look up, and there's a sun floating where the core is thought to be in a spherical model,
Uh-huh.
that would be so far away. I mean, it would be like there. You would think you'd be able to look across and see
Yeah.
like the other side, but it would be so incredibly far apart, because our atmosphere that we look through now is so thin, so you could literally have stars floating in the middle and everything, and it would still give it. I mean, what I'm getting at is we could be on the inside. We don't know it
We
now.
could easily be on the inside or we could be on the outside. There'd be no way of knowing, right?
All right,
The
there's no way.
difference. But moving from one to the other would definitely possibly shift perception and brain waves. It would
Yeah,
also account for the yugas, the Hindu yugas on the 24,000 year equinox. It would also account for the 24,000 to 26,000. They always argue about the exact years.
or the progression,
Precession. Yeah,
procession. Yeah.
it would account for that as well. So we
I
might
know.
never know this stuff. I mean, it'd be nice to actually know it at some point, to know exactly what the Earth is. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they will figure it out in the future.
Yeah, I used to actually do astral travel, and I never looked back at the Earth. I
But
just
maybe you can't. Maybe that's something that can't be seen at the moment. Maybe
right.
you have to have a certain amount of knowledge
I never even thought to turn around
to
and look
see
back.
it. Like if
Yeah,
you saw it, you wouldn't know what you were looking at anyway.
right.
I mean, who
Yeah,
knows? Like maybe it's just all energy soup. So it's
yeah,
whatever your preconceptions are is what you see.
yeah. Because even the photos they put out, you can only get so far away from the Earth. So every photo that they
That
do
makes no
create is
sense
a
to me.
composite
That
photo.
makes no sense to me. What about Voyager? What about all of these massive satellites that we've sent out past Saturn? Hubble. Why aren't they taking a picture of the Earth where every picture of Earth has been what? Created, animated. Why aren't we seeing actual pictures of Earth from those things that supposedly went all the way out past Saturn? Obviously, they didn't go out that far.
Well, I think the problem is, you would have to be almost infinitely far away you'd have to be like, I don't know, like as far away as they say the sun is in the globe model, 93 million miles away. You'd have to be so far away to be able to see half of the Earth,
But
you
they say
know?
you can see it from the moon, but that's all animated pictures, right?
No, but even from the moon, if you think about it, if you've got like the planet here, and you're like looking at it here, you're still looking at it at an angle. So you're not seeing. It's going to be a circle, but you're not seeing half of it. So it's going to
Yeah.
appear to be like you're looking at half of it, but you're not. I mean, so
See, you understand perspective better than me because I can't imagine you'd have to get that far out to see it.
so you look at the Earth, and it'll look like the whole Earth is United States. If you went up at the United States, you'd be like, oh, there's the whole globe. If you're looking at
Oh.
a globe model, you'd look and you think, I can see the horizon in all directions, so I'm looking at half, but you're really not. You're still only looking at a small circle on the side of a bigger globe if it is a globe. You know what I mean?
Have you noticed how nobody's talking about that Tesla car going to Mars? If you go on now, the internet, is it still out there? Their little CGI with their screens flickering, with this little car with a spaceman, a spacesuit, and a red convertible on its way to Mars with like perfectly lit up car and tires, you know, the tires
Yeah.
that would burst outside of the atmosphere of Earth anyway. They're totally inflated. Is that still going? Is there this?
Supposedly.
Let's
But
pretend like
in their in
the
their
convertible is going to Mars.
in their defense, I believe they made preparations for that. I don't think they put inflated tires on it, and I'm sure they put solid rubber because they knew it wouldn't really have to go on the road. So I'm sure it was more of a cosmetic thing than. Did
But
they act
nobody
like they pulled it
talks
off the
about it.
dealership or
I
something?
don't
And
know. I don't know. It's
yeah,
like nobody talks about it. Nobody visits the website. They kind of consider it like Santa. Spoiler alert, if you believe in Santa, close your ears. It's kind of that kind of thing. Like something you would show kids to make them believe in fake magic.
what if someday there's a new type of a Santa and it's this guy in the car, right? Because it went out because Santa was actually, although it's based on a real figure, who we think of as Santa was a creation of Coca-Cola.
Exactly. Exactly. Because the
It's
real
like their
St. Nicholas
mascot.
was Turkish, dark skin, dark beard, and wore green. Was they say it was a very Turkish color, not red. Very interesting. Yeah,
That's why
these
we
are
never see Santa on a Pepsi bottle or anything because it is a Coke,
it's a Coca-Cola, the version of the white beard.
right?
They
But
kind
then
of
there's
based
the
it on
red
God.
bunny, or there's the pink bunny and the pink rabbit now, energized in Duracell. So I don't know, you know.
I think they're both pink to me, and only one had it, and it was the Energizer
Right,
bunny.
the Energizers. We have beating
No
the drum or
Duracell
whatever.
bunny.
Duracell having a pink rabbit is not
No, that
from
doesn't
my
feel right.
timeline.
That doesn't sound right. So somebody asked me today at the mystical fair. They're like, "Do you think?" Because they were Mandela affected, and I was talking to them about our book, and they said, "Do you think people who don't see Mandela effects are not Mandela affected, or do you think they are, but they just don't know it?" And I'm like, I think they are, but they haven't realized it yet. I think everybody is affected, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just don't know it yet.
That's why one of my earliest videos on, I'm like, something for everybody, because anybody that gave me the time of day to answer enough questions, even if they like reneged on what they said, because a lot of people will do that. They'll say, well, I remember that. Well, maybe it was that way. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
Once
yeah.
you
They
tell
supposed to
them,
get the
and
download of. Oh, I remember it both ways. No, I'm probably wrong. Yeah,
right,
there were 6 in the car, not 4. Right? They start.
exactly.
Well, actually, I was talking to a friend, and her husband wasn't Mandela aware, but after talking to him, he's Mandela affected, and he was so chill about it, and so cool, and so calm. But he was definite about C3PO having a silver leg. He said most people didn't know he had a silver leg because they only shot him from the waist up. I'm like, that's a possibility. That could be true.
But see, as a boy, I had friends that had those characters. They would have the big, it looked like Darth Vader's head, and they'd open it up, and you'd have all your figures in it and stuff. And I always wanted it, right? But never got it or whatever. But my friends had it, so I go play with theirs, and I play it with the little characters. They didn't have a silver leg; they were always all gold.
Okay, so the original characters you remember was solid gold.
And I have more experience with the toys than I do the movie. I saw the movies like
Right.
once,
Okay.
and I haven't seen them in like 20 years.
He
And I actually
definitely
saw them
said
at the theater.
the no, I'm your father, and the Luke, I am your father. He said that doesn't feel right. He said that doesn't seem right at all. And then we found it's really easy to find James Earl Jones practicing that line, going, Luke, I am your father.
And
So you're
making
like,
jokes about it and all sorts. There's a lot
yeah,
of clips of residue on that one.
lots and lots of residue.
Yeah, so
So
even though that's not in my 100% pile, because
it's
I
there.
can't personally say it, I totally believe it
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
It's just not in my personal experience because I can't say for a fact because I only saw the movies like once or twice back in the day.
Yeah, I probably saw them about 10 times because we soon got them on video. So we could
Right.
watch them on video more often.
But I can remember, like, what was it, Tommy Boy talking into the fan and making fun of it and instances like that.
SNL did a funny
Right.
thing with Luke Skywalker, the actor, reenacting the scene, and
Oh,
probably like
Jane had a
family.
necklace that was all gold. I guess it's
Really? That
C3PO, maybe?
necklace of C3PO? How
That's cool.
cool. All gold. So there you go. So see, I couldn't say for sure if it's only seen from the waist down because I never had the toys. I never had a reference outside of the movies.
That was one of the reasons I quit the flea market because the guy next to me specialized in all the Star Wars stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna freak him out. I went over there and told him about it, and I was like, wow, no, I never. I'm like, yeah, it's like it's always been that way. And he's like, I saw him look for a second, and then went on to something else. Like, no
Yeah.
big deal.
It's like as soon as it sinks in that that's going to change your view of reality, they very quickly change the subject or find a way to remember it both ways because most people don't want their idea of reality totally trashed in 1 second. Everything that they've ever believed about matter and their place in it just poof gone.
And I often wonder that when I was going over my presentation that I'm going to do at the conference, I was actually thinking about how I came out of the dark night of the soul and
Me
life
too.
was
We
so
both went.
meaningless. And for me, it was just exciting. It was just a break from the monotony. You know what I mean? So it was like, wow, some exciting stuff going
Totally
on.
excited about it.
Maybe
I
that's
was
what
like,
it
why is
took for me
everybody
to.
so afraid of it? It's so cool.
Yeah, it's like I
You
woke up in
know,
a sci-fi movie. It was awesome.
that's what brought us together, though, was the lack of fear. We found a
Hmm.
place to go because there weren't
Yeah.
many places to go. When you're first researching Mandela Effect, it's like fear, 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 fear. And I'm like, oh my God, should I be fearing this? I'm not afraid. Why?
Exactly. Yeah, and I'm glad to see others starting to come around. It seems, doesn't it?
Oh,
Other
yeah.
channels that might have seemed fearful
And
at first. Or,
people, you guys, don't you find that if you like mention it to people now, they're like, oh, that's interesting. It's like we've reached the 100th monkey. So
yeah,
we can now introduce them to it without them freaking out.
yeah,
But
yeah.
that
That's
wasn't
really
true a few
interesting.
years ago. They were totally freaking out a few years ago.
But I can also say that in 2016 there were some people freaking out about it, and they're still like they've gone away, but they still freak out about it in a way. You know what I mean? Like they still haven't quite got
I
over
don't know. Those people avoid me. They're gone now. The ones that I freaked out back in
it.
2016. They're too busy to talk to me.
Exactly. Okay. Well, let's
Well,
see. Do we have any topics?
I kind of wanted to do one. I wanted to utilize the star
Merkaba, right?
Merkabas now that we know that's what steps up energy and steps it down to make it just right for you. Every moment that you're existing, your Merkabas are stepping energy up and down because we are toroidal fields, aren't
Mm-hmm.
we?
Yeah.
And we can put energy out and we can receive energy, but obviously we're not like frying. I mean, I kind of interfere with electronics. Do you? I have trouble with phones and computers, and that's like magnetic hard energy just like interacting with the electronics. So we need to step that down so we can use electronics
Right.
without stepping down our hard energy.
Yeah, I know people that like almost knock out the credit card machines every time they use it and stuff. Diane's one that we met in Austin
Yeah,
that she can't hardly go in and use a credit card because the
me
machines would go
too.
offline. But she got struck by lightning. I'm like, are you still carrying some of that
Yeah,
lightning
just
current
bring
around?
some energy around her. I'll often stand a little too close to the cash register, and I'm like, okay, it's all free today. And they're like, I don't know why it's frozen. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to step back a few feet. So yeah, I have that effect on electronics too. But when I was a kid, I used to make light bulbs flicker. And I remember my mom said the big old RCA TV in a huge box of like a piece of wooden furniture. Can you imagine making TVs into pieces of wooden furniture?
That's how mine
And
was growing up.
yeah, and it lasted forever. And I came home. I was staying with my dad in Egypt. Came home, and she's like, "Oh, the TV's out. I never bothered getting a new one, so you're not watching any TV." I'm like, "What? No TV?" And I went and turned it on. She goes, "Don't bother. It won't work." And boom, I turned it on. And maybe because it rested for a few years or whatever, it came straight on, and it worked for like another year, and then died again.
You have no idea how many, because I used to install cable and then Prime Star dishes and Prime Star and RCA satellite dishes for people. You have no idea how many houses I went into that had that chunking old chunk of TV, the wooden one, with the new one sitting on top. It became a TV stand.
A wooden piece of furniture was so nice, you just didn't want to throw it away.
Right. But what I really love are those old radios. Do you remember the really long wooden pieces of furniture? You open up the top, it's got the record player, and you have to let it
Grandma,
warm up. It's got the
because I have a
tubes
record
in it.
player here. It's made out of plastic, but I remember the wooden ones. But I think they were my grandparents' radios, not my mom and dad's. Weren't
Yeah,
they
I
like
love those
really
things.
old?
Yeah, they're really old. Like the sides were the speakers and everything, and it even had like reverb coils in it and stuff. You could go back there and flip the coils, and it would sound like it's echoey and stuff.
Speaking of radio, there's a movie out, isn't there? But it's not about Edison and Tesla. It's about Edison and somebody else, Westinghouse, right?
Mm,
Who fought over DC current, direct current,
okay, yeah, I knew about that.
rejecting
DC and AC.
Tesla's alternating current, which is basically the world today is based on alternating current instead that travels distances through the air. And somebody was saying, yeah, I didn't really like it. I was listening to what's his name? Were we talking about this? What's his name? Who owns Tesla?
Who owns
Elon Musk.
Tesla now? Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
It really bothered me, he said, because he said, oh yeah, it was my friend's husband, I think. Um, he said he preferred the great works of Edison over the great works of Tesla. And I'm like, no, no way would somebody say that now. Because now we know so much of what Tesla did. How could you compare Edison to Tesla? You just can't because Tesla outstrips him in every possible way,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I don't know. History's changing.
Yeah, and then they left Tesla out of this movie. It's like, why?
It's really
But
strange.
but having said that about movies, I saw another movie on Netflix and it's called The Laundromat with Meryl Streep. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? Because I'm watching it and it's all about the Panama Papers. It's all about the ability of, they just mention politicians, but they don't mention Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. That's the left and the right, right?
Mm-hmm.
Having their offshore accounts in Delaware in the United States. And those accounts in Delaware are tax havens, completely tax free. You could put
What?
$1 billion in there in an account in Delaware in a shell company that doesn't really exist but has a name. and not pay taxes on it. So I'm like, well, how did they create offshore accounting within the United States
What,
for the
right,
for
onshore.
onshore?
Because that's what they used to say. You have to go to, what country was it? Sweden or Swiss? Swiss bank account, right? That's where
Yes,
you had to go to.
and then the Cayman Islands, remember Cayman Islands,
Right,
money, ka-ching, ka-ching, get your money offshore.
right.
Well, now it's onshore, but it's
Yeah.
treated like offshore. And these are real tax havens. So why this movie? Steven Soderbergh did it. And I'm like, well, isn't he kind of like an Illuminator
Hmm.
director? And then Meryl Streep and Gary Oldman and all these people turn up, and I'm like, aren't they Illuminati actors? Why are they putting this movie out saying basically the corporations, the globalists, and the uber wealthy are totally screwing America by putting their money in a shell so they never have to pay taxes on it? And then at the end, it says something like in 2018, the top six companies made 80 billion and combined did not pay a dollar of tax on that. So basically, I'm like, why are they showing their hand? Why would the what I always call them illuminators, which is wrong because that's being facetious. Why would they, but like put out a movie about what they do? Why? I don't really believe this. They have to show their hand thing so that they don't have karma. Do you think that's it? Do you think that sometimes they just put the truth out there so
I
that,
don't know.
hey guys, we told you what we're doing?
Did they do it in some kind of ridiculous way, or they did it like it's
They
a
made it as a
documentary, or
comedy. Yeah, but they made it as a comedy that was true, like Shakespearean, like the actors would turn and talk to you on
so it's like they're
the
laughing in our face, basically. Look what we're doing, ha
basically,
ha.
like, look
Right.
at what we're doing. But then it felt like they were criticizing themselves. So why do that? Why put something out there that's a comedy critical of yourself?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't know.
know. I was watching this whole thing going, I don't get it. Why am I watching this? It was kind of, I don't know. I couldn't describe it. I couldn't describe it. I felt like maybe those guys who tell me that they have to expose what they're doing in order to erase the karma.
Yeah, and at what point do they cross the line where they have to say? I mean, it seems
We're
like,
screwing you. We're robbing you.
right. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Because basically, the movie said only poor people pay taxes, and the middle class is becoming poor people. And if you're wealthy, you just do not. The laws of the land protect the uber wealthy to never pay a tax dollar. And it's like,
Hmm.
why, if you've made 100 billion, what would it hurt you to pay some taxes that would go into roads and schools and fire and police? Would that be so painful, really?
Right.
If you've made 100 billion, to not put a few million back into the economy that you took your money out of. I don't understand the mentality of making so much money that you cannot give even a penny of it back.
But then again, I think, they could, if they took it away for everyone, they'd still get the taxes on, because every time you use money, you have to, unless you're paying it to somebody else, but, there's sales tax. And, I guess that's a state thing, but, you know, I don't know. It's
I
hard to
don't know.
move money and not get,
You guys watch The Laundromat on Netflix and see if it makes you go like, well, why are they making movies about what they're really doing? I followed the whole Panama paper thing.
so is it
You
about
know,
cleaning money?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
it's about setting up shell companies offshore so that you can put your money through something so that it never has to pay taxes at its source.
Was it that why they do that for drugs, like huge drug operations and stuff?
Absolutely, and it touches on that.
Right,
Yeah, but I mean, so is Trump doing that, and so is Hillary Clinton. We got the left and the right, the Democrats and the Republicans, putting their money in the same place
right.
to make sure they never pay taxes.
Hmm.
You're like, is it that painful for them to pay taxes? At what point? How much money is enough that you feel like it's okay to contribute back into the society, the community of which you are a part?
Well, I think they're rich because they don't. They find all the loopholes. You know what I mean? They know how to exploit the system. So, I mean,
And then having a government that actually favors the corporation and the wealthy over the people and
yeah.
says, well, yeah, we're going to create laws that allow that to happen. That's what this whole movie is about the laws that make this completely legal.
Right. That's what I was saying. If it's not illegal, can't really
It's,
blame them for doing it. Because
oh,
I
yeah,
exploit.
remember we had that
Yeah,
conversation.
because I do that. I write off everything I can, and I'll keep writing it off, and then I get to the point where it's like, wow, this is actually hurting me at this point. I'm not going to write any more off. But
Right.
mine's all legit. I mean, I've been audited before, and I always get the maximum I can get for the income I get. So, I can't really judge them because at the level I'm at, you know what I mean? I'm doing it too, but I'm not breaking any laws either. So,
But if you had 100, say you made 10 billion a year, would you make sure that you never paid 10 cents in taxes back into the community, which goes for fire, police, schools, all the things that the community needs? Would you be like, no, make sure that my whole 10 billion stays in my account? There seems to be a level of greed that increases with the amount of money. Like right now, we're like, give us the write-offs, because at the end of the year, we're stretching our money to make ends meet. We're
right.
like, oh man, almost did it this year. Not quite, still stretching those bills to cover expenses. So we're like,
Right.
please give me some write-offs. But when you've just got the money flowing in and it's billions, do you still feel that need to make sure that you don't pay a penny in taxes? I don't know.
I don't know, because then you're outsourcing it to people that's paid to find the loopholes and save you the most money. And so it's not really even them at that point. It's people
I
that
mean,
know the
the,
system.
the only reason there isn't a flat tax of 10%, which would benefit the poor, benefit the middle class, 10%. I mean, that's a really low tax, is because the wealthy
Not on a
refuse to
billion,
pay
though.
10%. The billionaires will
Right.
not pay 10%.
Right. That's a
But
crap load
even
of
to
money with
them,
billions.
10% would not break their bank. It would still be a small amount.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't mean to go down the tax route, but that movie,
That'd be 100 million on a billion, though. So I don't know. That's a lot of money. I
if you
don't
have a,
know. Huh?
if you have a billion, 100 million isn't a whole lot.
I
That's
don't
like saying
know.
I've got a
That's
dollar and I can't give somebody a
that's
dime.
10 of your 100. You know what I mean?
No, it's like having a dollar and saying, there's a homeless person over there. I cannot spare this dime. You may not have it. I need that
Right.
dime.
Right.
So I guess it's all
Perception.
perspective,
Yeah.
perception.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, watch that movie, The Laundromat. I was like, very interesting. But why? Why come out with that?
Hmm. That's
And
interesting. Yeah.
see if more movies come out with that. Come on. The Mandela Effect's coming out in December. The Laundromat is out now, about how governments and corporations clean their money so they don't have to pay any taxes. It's almost like maybe the truth drop is now. Maybe this removing the veil and truth will out is a
Yeah.
real thing. It's really, really happening.
Yeah. The revelation or the apocalypse
Yeah,
which is a
it's like a
revealing.
revelation. Yeah, the
Yeah.
reveal.
Yeah.
The apocalypse means the revealing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling like, that's a lot of reveal. That's a lot of reveal to come out.
You want to hear something funny? I want to bring this up before we do the meditation. If you actually type in apocalypse,
Hmm.
the definition that comes up,
Is
no, you have to wait for this because it's hilarious to me. Anybody that looks this up, they're going to read first definition: the complete final destruction of the world as described in the biblical book of Revelations, or two, an event involving destruction or damage on an awesome or catastrophic scale. That's all they have. And then under that it says, from Oxford, people also search, what does apocalypse really mean? And then you look that up and it says apocalypse is a Greek word meaning revelation, an unveiling, or unfolding of things not previously known, and which could not be known apart from the unveiling. As a genre, apocalyptic literature details the author's visions of the end times as revealed by an angel or other heavenly messenger, right? So, I
interesting.
mean, it's like if you read what they show you first, you'll totally get this
Doom and
fearful,
gloom.
right?
Doom and gloom. End of the world.
But
Apocalypse.
under
But
that, it says, what does apocalypse really mean? Because
really mean. But that's a truth reveal. They're revealing what it really means underneath what it doesn't mean.
that's just hilarious to me
That
because
is
it's like other
hilarious.
users searched that the reason they have this is because enough people were like, wait a minute, what does it really mean? Because I know that's not right.
Like
And
Satan. If you look up the Aramaic definition of Satan, which is before Greek, isn't Aramaic like the language of Jesus? Is that before
right,
Greek
yeah,
or at the same time?
I think it
Um,
was what they actually spoke.
oh God, can I remember what it means? It was so long ago that I actually looked it up in Aramaic. It means misunderstanding. It means confused thinking. So
What?
anything
Where was it?
Satan, Satan,
Oh,
meant misunderstanding.
okay. I thought it was adversary or something like that.
No, not in Aramaic, but maybe in Greek.
Let me.
And I'm not sure that Satan was used a lot in the Bible. Wasn't it Lucifer, which is the light bearer, which in Greek means bringer of light? Bringer of knowledge,
All right.
right? Lucifer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why would they make the bringer of light the baddie in a good story?
Isn't that how they have him as the morning star and Jesus as the morning star as well?
Well, that's kind of interesting because the morning star has always been considered Venus, right? Which is feminine, which is
And
female.
which would be Mary, I think, right?
Yeah, instead of being Lucifer.
I don't
But
know.
I don't know. I don't know, guys. What do you know?
I don't know. I think they're too much is going. Lucifer is only used twice. Okay, Lucifer was the one that isn't used much, but Satan's not used a whole lot either. I don't
So
think.
what is it? The devil? Beelzebub? What do they call him in the book? I mean, I did have to read the whole Bible, New Testament, Old Testament, so long ago in the 80s, but I've forgotten most of it.
There's the Baal Baal that they had quite a
Well, I know
bit.
about Baal coming from the Mesopotamian Sumerian. Baal is a god.
Right.
It's a god of war. No, is it Baal that's the god of war? Might be. Baal,
Beelzebub means
Baal
Lord of
is.
the Flies, I think.
And did you know that the Israelites were held captive in Canaanite near Babylon before they wrote the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible?
Mm,
So that's why so many of their myths come from there, like Gilgamesh, Noah,
right.
creation, very shared.
Right.
But I still don't think that the Old Testament and New Testament should be in one book. The Old Testament is a religion, a standalone religion
Mm-hmm.
of Judea. And
And I heard Job
the
was
New
the
Testament
oldest
is
of all the writings.
totally different. Did you? I heard Isaiah came from
Mm.
ancient Egypt,
I heard
from
it's an old story. Not It's not actually like something that happened. It was just
the
a
book of Job.
story. The Book of Job was a
What happens to
storybook.
Job?
Job that's the one where Satan goes to God and says, "Hey, what about your servant Job? I bet if I did
Yes.
this and this and this and this to him, he wouldn't serve you anymore." And he's like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead and do what you want with him. He'll always serve me or
right,
whatever." So
right.
killed all of
And he
his kids, and then he got double the amount. It's like, dude, don't kill all my 5 kids and expect giving me 10 more different kids is gonna take away my pain or whatever.
yeah, it was a story of faith, tested faith.
Yeah, but it also showed like sort of God and Satan were actually working together rather than it being like two
Somebody
sides
wrote
of a
to me
coin.
recently, might have been Ronnie. Sorry, I haven't answered everything yet, but I will. I'll get to it tomorrow. Um, Somebody said, I could never understand why um, the devil or Satan had as much power as God. There was like God and then God's nemesis, Satan. And they made Satan as powerful, almost as powerful as God, to challenge God. Because if God was truly godlike, nothing could challenge God,
Right.
right? Crush Satan like a fly, like a bug.
Well, I think a lot of that comes from a lot of our religions are built on uh, Jehovah being God, Creator, Almighty. Like the top of the thing. But when you get into looking at it, Jehovah was also Enlil of the two brothers. So it was a brotherly thing. It was Enlil and Enki, Satan and
God.
Jehovah. Right. But we're thinking of it as like God Almighty. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be the flip. He doesn't have a brother because there is no duality at that point. So you have to look within the matrix. And we do have these Sumerian brothers, the sons of Anu,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Anunnaki.
We have them in Egypt too. We have Set and Osiris,
Right,
who are
exactly.
brothers who
And I
fight
believe
each
these are actually the same
other.
guys, you
Well, then
know.
that would be like Cain and Abel, as
Exactly.
opposed to the God and the devil. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Really, really interesting. Especially if you look at the context of where they were written, when they were written.
And the fact that he was walking through the garden with them is a really big indicator that, would you imagine Source walking through a garden and,
No, not with the devil.
you know, and would he walk through the garden when, in Christianity, God came down as a man to walk amongst man through Jesus, right?
Right.
So was God walking around with Adam? I think it's real clear when you start breaking it up that I think this was Jehovah. This Jehovah's someone else, and he gets jealous and he acts more like us than he does like some sort of
Yeah.
omnipotent creator God.
That's why the New Testament is so different. It's its own religion to the Old Testament, and to put them in the same cover is like putting two religions under one cover.
Totally.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different God. A forgiving God, a vengeful God. A
And
God
I even find
who
I
smites and drowns, a God who forgives and loves.
exactly. Yeah.
But that's going to be confusing to kids because kids are going to read stories from both in the Bible and go, wow, God's not schizophrenic. They don't say that. Bipolar. God's
Right.
bipolar. Sometimes he's in a good mood and he's like loving and forgiving. And then sometimes he gets really mad and he's like, smite, kill,
Right.
drown, you know?
Yeah. That's why I brought that up the other day. Somebody said, I don't think it was Jehovah. I think it was Satan. And I was like, well, you start looking and you start seeing this cross between who Jesus called the ultimate God or Father and who the old religion, the old Jewish religion called Father, that they
And then
weren't the same.
Elohim, which I don't think is really I think that's from the Hebrew Bible. That's not, which is the Old Testament. But I don't think Elohim is really in the Old Testament, is it very much?
The Elohim, I believe so.
Elohim.
I believe it's like when we say, let's make man in our own image, and they talk like I think it's the Elohim, that part.
Because that's the God that has all the Michael, Gabriel, Raphael. The L at
Exactly.
the end means Mike of God,
Right.
Michael.
Right. Like
Raph of God.
Gabrielle, my daughter's name means woman of God.
There you
So that's
go.
of God, right?
Yeah.
So
And
Gabriel would
actually,
mean man of God.
Gabriel used to be considered a female angel. It's only recently been turned male. And that's
Mm.
why Gabriel brought the news to Mary of her impending,
Ah, that's interesting.
it was like a midwife angel
Wow, that's
to say,
cool.
you will have Jesus and Jesus will be,
That's
the Son of
amazing.
God. Yeah.
See, I would imagine that they're androgynous anyway, so.
Yeah, they really are. But they think Michael's very male, Gabriel, very female.
Hmm.
Um,
And Gabriel's who visited Muhammad, right? And
yeah,
brought him the.
in the cave
Mm-hmm.
and basically gave him the whole of the Quran, which was
Mm-hmm.
all spoken stories until after he died, they wrote him down.
Oh, okay.
So
Similar
a
to the
lot of
Bible.
yeah, and Aristotle and Socrates, like Socrates, the great teacher, never wrote anything down. I'm not even sure Aristotle did, but Plato, by the time Plato came along, he wrote things down.
Right.
But
Gosh. Were
anyway,
their memories better back then?
they had to be because they didn't have phones to text themselves the information. Hang on, let me just text myself this. Okay, my memory is in my phone.
Well, okay, because that you bring up a really good point. I used to remember all of my friends' phone numbers by heart, but now
Yeah,
I don't know anyone's number by heart.
I
I
don't know
barely know my own by heart,
anyone's number by heart, and I knew all my friends' telephone numbers by heart.
and I could
That is
dial
so
them like within a
funny.
second, like like really quick. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you didn't need speed dial. We were speed
Except on
dial.
the old dial phones.
You had a dial tone. You remember that? You had
Yeah,
a rotary phone.
yeah,
Wow, so did I.
yeah. It sucked.
And it really sucked if you got halfway through the number and one of them didn't go to the end. You didn't start over. You'd be like, you didn't
Exactly.
quite make it to the end on that one, so it put in like a 4 instead of a 5. You're like, oh, gotta start over.
Yeah, we had an old one left, but we also had a new style that could do rotary too. So you do it, and it's like, and it wouldn't make the dial. It
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
make
think we had
the
that
button
too.
sound. Yeah.
And then we had the cord that was started out being like a 5-foot cord, but within a year wound up being a 20-foot cord that could reach every bedroom, right?
Exactly. You have
My
to go
God.
under it to get to the kitchen and grab a drink and go back under it because your mom's cooking or something on the phone or
Yep.
something.
And then,
The
of
good
course,
old
it would
days.
always wrap up. It would always get so tangled by itself. I
Yeah.
just remember my dad sitting there like this,
Letting it
holding it.
dangle and unwind. Yeah.
Yeah, just letting it unwind. It's like, why doesn't anybody unwind the cord of the phone? You're like, that's your job, Dad.
Yeah, because then it would begin to spiral up and feel like a short cord again.
Yeah, and you're like, pull it, and you couldn't pull it apart because it was so tight.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's awesome.
Reminiscing.
Yeah.
Well, should we do kind of
Star
like
Merkaba.
activate and work with our star Merkaba and
I like that. Yeah.
Our Earth star, and
Hmm.
um, our crown star or cosmic star?
Definitely. Yeah, I like that.
Okie dokie. So let's see, without disconnecting everything. There we go. Yeah, we really chatted long tonight. So finally getting to the meditation. Is everybody still awake and still with us? We've lost the people in England. Of course, that's like 3 in the morning for them now. And in Scotland, where John Binney is. Okay, so if everybody, I'll just move my mic a little bit in. How's that? Okay. So, if everybody will just take a deep, relaxing breath in to really fill your lungs up, because that's a relaxing process, and exhale everything out, stress, tension, anywhere in the body. And then breathe in again, hold it for as long as comfortable, and exhale it out, and really let your muscles go in your face, your shoulders, your legs, your hands and feet. And a deep third breath in. Really let your tummy extend as you bring in that air. Hold it as long as you like. And when you're ready, exhale out any stress from the week. And now we're going to do our heart breathing, where we breathe in through our heart center and exhale out of the heart. And do this at a pace that's comfortable for you. Breathe in, exhale from the heart. And this time, breathe in love. And when you exhale, exhale forgiveness. And we're going to reverse that and breathe in forgiveness. Let it fill you up. And exhale out of your heart, love. And continue to breathe comfortably in and out of your heart center. And now start to imagine in your mind's eye doing something that you absolutely, totally enjoy doing. Something that you love to do either alone or with people, maybe something out in nature, maybe something inside like writing a song or painting a picture. So just imagine that. And that really entrains your mind with your heart and gets everything synced up and feeling really good. And now, if you like, it'd be a good time to send down a grounding cord from your root chakra at the base of your spine. Send it all the way down, all the way through the earth. Let it go down the different layers. Let it go down naturally, all the way to the core, the center, the heart of the earth. And when it reaches the earth, just let it spread out like roots so you're firmly grounded. And now, together, we're going to imagine our soul star, which is 6 to 12 inches right above your head, right above the center of your head, your crown chakra. And it's a Merkaba. So it has the upward facing triangle and the downward facing triangle spinning in opposite directions, which creates an energy field similar to a toroidal field, or actually, a lot of people think it is a toroidal field that it creates. And imagine that color being white or yellow or gold. Could even be purple. Now, this is your soul star, where that regulates the energy coming down from God, Source, your higher self, angelic beings, spirit guides, cosmic brothers and sisters, multiple dimensions. And it makes sure that the energy that you receive when you request that energy to come through, whether you visualize colors or not, is optional. We like visualizing colors, but you don't have to. You can just visualize energy coming in or information when you have a question, and it's a big question. So you go into that meditative state. You relax and get comfortable. You're going to be accessing higher information. Maybe it's a song or inspiration for some writing or artwork. You're going to go through your soul star, which keeps the information coming in a really easy flow. And if it needs to be stepped down, it's stepped down. If it needs to be stepped up and increased, it's stepped up. It's based on the moment, what you need in the moment, as having these multiple bodies, having a physical body, an emotional body, a mental body, and a spirit body. And right now, we're just going to request that we receive source energy, and it comes down through our soul star to our crown chakra, down our spine, through all the chakra centers, and out the root chakra and down the grounding cord. And as that energy is coming through at just the right level for you, imagine it clearing and cleaning all the various chakra points in your body. Because when those energy centers are cleared and clean, the actual physical body around that energy center is cleared and cleaned. That brings balance and harmony back into the body, which is healing. The opposite of dis-ease is ease. Brings all that balance back in and peace and contentment and ease into the body. And if you just allow that energy to flow, knowing that it will come to you in a safe way and in safe amounts, you can now start to activate your Earth Star, which is 6 to 12 inches below your feet. And it's a Merkaba with the triangles going down and up in opposite directions and spinning in opposite directions, creating that toroidal field of energy. And the whole point of having an Earth Star, it connects you to Earth as an Earth being, as a human being, as Earth bound, whether you feel like it's a flat Earth or a round Earth or an eyeball or a dome, triangular Earth, a turtle, whatever, it doesn't matter. Your body, your physical body, is made up of borrowed atoms and waves that form your body for as long as you need it here. And the one thing that keeps that body flowing in harmony and balance is your Earth Star. So now allow the Earth energy, which you can visualize as love, or you can see colors, maybe some greens and browns and reds and oranges, really earthy colors, blues even from the water. Just imagine that coming up through your Earth Star below your feet, and then have it go up your spine through all the energy centers. You can visualize it as energy, you can visualize it as love, you can visualize it as color, and have it go out the top of your head. And when you're doing that, you're grounding yourself, you're balancing yourself so the energies around you are correct, so that you don't have too much energy going out that's making your computer glitch and the TV go off and your cell phone malfunction. You're kind of balancing your energies through the Earth Star with Earth energy. That's why electrical items often need to be grounded so that when we touch them, we don't get zapped. Same here. So you're now being grounded. And imagine that energy or love or color coming through all the energy chakra points and clearing and cleaning, healing, energizing, balancing. Each center that it goes through, it also affects the physical body, the physical organs, and the muscles and the bones around those energy centers heal as well into balance, into ease, into peace, just feeling really, just really good, the way it should be. And now you're actually running both energies, and all your bodies are benefiting from that. You've got your physical body connected to earth and benefiting. Your emotional and mental bodies are in between. And then you've got your spirit body connecting with your soul star above your head. And just getting that balance, that peace, the way it should be. So we'll just go silent for 3 minutes, and we'll just enjoy the energies that we've brought in to heal and clear and clean and energize and balance each energy center in all of our bodies. Okay, so gently come back. Start to move your feet around, your ankles, your hands and your arms. Maybe move your head around, stretch your neck, and really come back and be present in a very relaxed and peaceful, easeful body. And when you're ready, open your eyes and you can let your grounding cord go or you can keep it attached.
Awesome. I actually
Yeah,
felt a little wobbly there at first, and then I felt like it smoothed out. So I guess maybe I was getting balanced out. That's cool.
I had a real big crystal bowl session today at the Mystic
Mm-hmm.
event. So I got very floaty in my head and then it balanced out. As soon as we started running some of that earth energy, it got
Mm-hmm.
rid of the kind of dizziness, the floatiness in my head.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
now we know why that when we're running energy and we're visualizing green and purple and blue, we're never getting too much. We're getting what we need. And I might need a different color and a different amount to the person sitting next to me. And
Isn't it
that's
amazing how different the sessions can be? How the feelings?
they're all different.
It's
They're
really
all
wild.
different. That's nice. And
Yeah.
every now and then, I know we do a lot of earth healing here. Every now and then, it's nice to recharge our batteries and
Mm-hmm.
really heal our bodies and focus on us.
But then again, we're all connected. So
We're all connected and we're connected to the earth, and the earth is loving it.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, if we are indeed on this ascension path, which I feel like we are, we're
Yeah,
evolving. We're evolving with the planet. It's like
we
it's
are.
we're all
We're,
together
we're an
here.
extension of the earth. It's like the earth has these fingers running around it. We're just
Yeah.
part of it. It's an extension of the earth.
Yeah. Like
And in
electrons
fact,
on a cell or something, right?
yeah,
A
and then we
molecule.
connect it to the source because we are conscious of source. So we're sucking in that energy too and bringing
Yeah.
that to earth.
Oh yeah.
So
So like
really,
little
earth might
antennae.
be ascending because of us. It might be once the conscious dominant animal starts to ascend, then earth ascends,
Hmm.
you know?
It's like reaching that critical mass, that tipping point. Yeah.
And I'm
And we
telling you,
already see it's happening. We see
with
it's happening
with the
already.
Mandela effect it has, because you can mention it to people now and they're like, oh, that's interesting. Instead of, oh my God, don't tell me that. It's like, wow, we're reaching these tipping points in many ways.
That's awesome.
It is, it really is.
Well, we won't be back next week. I will be, oh my gosh. This time next week, I will actually be doing my
You're
presentation because it's earlier, but it's 2 hours behind. So yeah, I think I'll actually be speaking right now, unless I
at
go at
8 p.m.
four. I
Is
don't
it
know if
two
I go at
hours?
4 or 6 or 7 or something, but
How much time have you got? 1 hour?
2 hours.
Oh my gosh, you got 2 hours?
Yeah, and I was
Hey,
like,
you could do Q&A. Do a
yeah, I was
half
like, I
hour.
could do an hour, see how long it goes, and then leave some time for Q&A at the end or whatever. But
Yeah.
now that I've just about finished my presentation, I'm like, oh my gosh, I might have to cut this one short. I might have to cut this one short, and I'm already making mental notes. Okay, skip over these slides if I'm running out of time. And I've seen people have to do that,
You know
sort of
what?
where I
Go
can
with
get the
the
main
flow.
point.
Just
Yeah,
let the moment guide you because whatever you deliver will be in the moment.
it'll be perfect. I'm not
You'll be
worried about it.
guided through this whole thing by your higher self.
I totally agree. Yeah.
I wish I could be there. That's going to be great. And I hope we get to see some of it, like on Dark Wolf Den's channel.
They're having it professionally recorded, but I'll see how I can do it to set up to capture me and the screen at the same time. And if I have to go back and edit it and add in some real screenshots for the
Your
viewers,
phone
because
did great at Iseti. We did the whole in the hall meditation on your phone, and it turned out really good.
it did. It was a Samsung Galaxy 6, so it was my old phone, but it still did a great job.
So maybe you could just put your phone on and hit record, and
Yeah,
whatever you get, you get. And he said he doesn't mind if you share it on your channel because it's you. But
right.
what was I going to say? Will you do a Friday night love stream or not? Because the conference is on Friday as well.
Right. Now, Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Matter of fact, I'll miss Monday and Tuesday as well next week.
Are you going to
So,
play past things, or are you just going to take a break and say, guys,
no, I will at least schedule something like I did at, when I was gone before.
okay. But if you don't worry. We know where you are, and we know we'll have you back.
I'll definitely try to chime in with some live stuff here and there just to show
Yeah,
how things are going, meet with
Sedona
people.
and City.
Yeah. Well, at ECETI, I didn't have the connection, and
That's
Sedona, I didn't really have the connection. I had to record it. But there, I should have plenty of Wi Fi
You're
in the
right. We
hotel.
did. We had to record it
Yeah. And played it the following week.
because there's no Wi-Fi around us in the
All
water
right.
there. Yeah,
Yeah. I didn't even have
interesting.
battery for my phone. If you remember right, my phone almost
Right.
ran out, and I filled up the camera, the memory. So I missed the whole table tipping thing that you guys did because I was trying to dump stuff off my phone to make more room or whatever. Yeah.
Well, all I know is you're going to have plenty of Wi-Fi because this is in a hotel.
Right.
So you're
Yeah.
going to have Wi-Fi for a change.
Exactly. That'd be really nice.
That is super cool.
So looking forward to that, and yeah, I guess I'll see you in 2 weeks here, and
Yeah, it's going to feel like a long time. But hey, we took time off for Christmas last year.
right.
Remember?
Yeah. Yeah. We'll probably have some. I don't know when Christmas falls this year,
I
but
think we took a week off between Christmas and New Year's, and you replayed stuff.
yeah. So those who want to tune in and chat, still, I'll put something on so you guys be able to at least. Let's see,
Get together
Christmas.
and have the
Oh, it's
live.
Tuesdays and Wednesdays, so we'll see.
Okay.
It's sort of good that we can, definitely Michelle and I won't be doing anything 2 weeks in a row because that's Christmas Eve and New Year's
And
Eve
New
are both.
Year's Eve.
Yeah. But
Maybe
we
we
might be all right because that would be the 28th and the 21st. So we'll see. We might get lucky this year. Need to keep the power
Oh,
of
I do
intention going,
have
or
a
unless you're
question.
traveling or something.
I do have a question for everybody. And Shane and I didn't talk about this beforehand, so I hope it's not too left field. But I was seriously thinking about coming up with a show name in January for 2020 that means something to us as a group
Hmm.
because we have moved so far past. I'm not judging the power of eight. We're not doing the power of eight anymore. We are
Right.
doing earth healing meditations. We are
Right.
doing, it's so different. It's so
Yeah.
very different from how we started out.
Mm-hmm.
And 2020 is a very big year in terms of ascension and spirituality. There's a huge conjunction in the winter solstice that's like the 1987, what was that called? Oh gosh.
Oh, I know what you're talking about, but
No, Terry will know because we both went to it. Harmonic convergence. We have a big planetary harmonic convergence coming up in December of 2020. And 2020,
mm,
symbolically, there's a lot going on. And I was just thinking, if you guys like, would we possibly come up in January with a new beginning, not and carrying on, but really kind of a name for this show that represents us live healing the earth together?
I
Because
like that. Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And I have
We
no
changed the thumbnail last year. Let's change the name
we had
and the
to.
thumbnail.
We were getting really bored. We're like, we need a new thumbnail, it's another year. Yeah, so something about the fact that we're live and we're
Yeah.
here and together we're using our energy to heal each other and the earth. And
Absolutely.
that's a big thing to ask you guys to come up with some ideas.
Yeah. So be thinking about that. I'm totally down with that.
You are
Plus,
so
plus I,
open.
yeah, I feel like it just gives us a little bit more freedom. Not that we've felt. I mean, we've still wandered away from the power of eight, but I feel, at the same time, I feel like, well, we're not. We're using our name, and then we're not really doing it
We're not really
anymore.
doing
So,
it. We're not
right.
actually doing it according to the book.
Exactly.
We've gone off in our own little world of what we're
Right.
doing. And we're loving it. And we're so appreciative of the power of eight, which will be 2 years ago,
Yeah.
getting
So
us
you're getting
started.
close to the end of your 1 year class thing with it, right?
Yes, I am. And that's what kind of inspired me to come to you guys and say, hey, in January, can we create something that represents us
Yeah.
as
Maybe
a group?
something with the vision of 2020 vision, or I don't know,
Yeah, I'm open. So whatever you guys
intention.
come
I
up
don't
with, meditation, intention, live, earth healing, energy, meditation.
know. Yeah. They'll come up with something. You guys are clever.
Are we going to even come close to a nice thumbnail like we did this last year with the heart and the rainbow? Oh my God,
Oh,
that
it's beautiful.
thumbnail is so cool. But we need a new thumbnail too.
Yeah, definitely. I say, well, let's come up with the name, and then we'll come up with a thumbnail that fits
Maybe
it.
you can create it because what you did with the cover, I'm telling you, on Amazon, Shane's cover stands out. The colors, the concept, that's an actual picture a photograph of the Milky Way behind it. Yeah.
Very cool.
So maybe you want to do our little thumbnail with inspiration of how you see our group.
Absolutely.
That'd be fun. Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here, and I will see you in 2 weeks.
I'll see you in 2 weeks, and I'll go back and read the chat, guys.
All right. Lots of love, you guys.
Much love.
Peace.
Bye for now.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.